Everyone, welcome to the reaction for chapter 1123. Super excited for this one as we had a break last week and the chapter dropped pretty unexpectedly last night. Sorry if my mic is a little loud there. It dropped pretty unexpectedly and that really threw me off, and I almost reacted right when it dropped, but we had work today and I don't know, I thought it'd be easier to just wait because I wanted y'all to be here. So and FYI, guys, I thought this was kind of cool. The company I work for, and so what I did today at work, for anyone who is into sports, the company I work for, long story short, we make agricultural inputs, and I went to the Columbus Crew MLS Stadium, the best team in the MLS, at least they won the championship 2023. But I went there because our product is used on that field, and I went there and got to go meet a couple people and see the inside of the stadium and be on the field level, and also went to some other places. But that was pretty cool. Our product is used on the Crew Stadium, which I thought was cool. If anybody cares about MLS, which nobody does, but thought that was cool. But y'all, super duper excited for this chapter. Oh my god, I've been waiting for this all week. Now I haven't heard a lot about it. Usually I get like a warning or two, and I really didn't get a whole lot. I think the Raws came out kind of late, so people may not have even had the full spoilers potentially. But man, I'm ready to read this with y'all. I see we already got like 100 people in here, which is amazing. Thank you guys, as always. Okay, the camera looks alright. I used the camera a bunch today, shooting the stuff at the Crew Stadium, and I was worried I was going to mess something up whenever I came back, but I think we're good, so that's amazing. So I'm super excited. I'm not spoiled at all. I see we have a ton of super chats and things like that to get through, so I'm going to run through those as quick as I can. Unintelligent Design joined the Afro Gang earlier in the stream before I even got here, so appreciate you, Unintelligent Design. Oh, excuse me. Had some pizza today too, and it's coming back. Adam Tree, can't wait to see you in Elbath. Maybe that's happening soon. I don't know. We'll see. Egghead might be ending soon. Member for 5 months. Enjoy the chapter, bro. Appreciate you. I hope you're able to stick around, Adam. I know usually you kind of come in early, donate, and then come back later, but I hope you're not busy. If not, it's all good. Appreciate you for sliding in, as always, man. You got to get rid of that Cowboys logo there, but everything else is great. Appreciate you. Good Vibrations, member for 21 months. 21. Appreciate you. Good Vibrations is actually 21 Savage, so thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Kush Daddy with the $2 super chat. Just two brothers, Doobie or Allman Brothers? Oh man. I mean, I have a guess off the top of my head. I am gonna do a quick Google. Man. I don't really have an opinion on either of these, Kush Daddy. I'm gonna be real with you. So I'm gonna go Doobie, just because a doobie means something else, and doobies are cool with me, so I'm gonna go with that. Although the Allman Brothers, I gotta say, they got very cool images here. Whenever I look them up, they had some good photo shoots. Whoever their photographer was great. they did an awesome job. I'm going Doobie though, for all the people who like smoking doobies. Knack with the $7 Canadian super chat. Let's effing go. Glad to see you, champ. Stoked for this one with a bunch of emojis. I appreciate you, Knack. Thank you very much. I'm stoked for this too, and I'm glad to see you also. But this chapter, I mean, we're almost at the end of Egghead, guys. Which I started reacting to chapters towards the start of Egghead. So for me, this is crazy that we're still kind of here. But I'm ready for the ending. If it is this week, that's great. I don't know if it is. I don't even know if people know yet, if it's clear. Sometimes it's not super clear when the arc ends, but yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you, Knack. And then Canadan. I'm probably butchering that name, but Canadan, or there's no U, otherwise I would say like Quantidan, so Canadan maybe. You said enjoy the chapter, DAC member for 2 months. Thank you very much, bro. I definitely will. It's going to be really hard to top last week. I'm going to be real with you. Last week's probably going to be my favorite chapter of the year, at least in the top 5, I would say. It's rivaling 1102, which is my favorite chapter of the arc in its entirety so far, the end of the Kuma flashback, so But I'm excited for this one regardless. And then Tiante Black, my guy, I just lost your super chat because I've moved my mouse. You said, like the stream. Yes, please, everyone, like the stream if you have not already. It really does make a massive difference. I'm not just saying that. All the YouTubers are definitely serious. Tiante, and thank you. Tiante makes some... Well, I've been trying to tell Tiante to start a YouTube channel. So if anybody can help me push him to finally start it, that'd be great, because we need to get this man on YouTube. But he does make a lot of great theories over on Twitter. So definitely check him out if you have not followed him on Twitter. He makes theories all the time over there. And sorry I haven't responded in the group chat, by the way, Tiante. I've not had time. Well, I can't really get on Twitter in the middle of the week because spoilers anyway, but you guys should go check him out. Lonely Mage, member for 10 months. News from the underground. Dark with a chance for shatter mole showers. Is that a foreshadow for this chapter, or is that just a joke? See, now you really got my brain working, Lonely Mage. I'm in theory mode, all out right now. I'm gonna presume you're just hyping things up. For one thing, thank you very much either way. But whenever I hear mole showers, Lonely Mage, my eyebrows go to their top level of verticality. You know, I'm wide-eyed, so you got me thinking things. Kumasi Supremacy, member for 6 months. I miss the old Butterfingers, hate the new recipe. You know, Kumasi, I was actually watching a video yesterday by LA Beast, alright? If anybody is familiar, one of the YouTube GOATs, one of the OGs, seriously, on YouTube. Love LA Beast. His channel name is like Skippy62able or something like that, but LA Beast is like his name. And he had Butterfingers from like 1987 that he ate like in his last video, so they're like 20-something years old. I'm gonna presume you're not talking about those Butterfingers, Kumasi, because those looked nasty. But I honestly haven't tried the new recipe, but I'm gonna be honest, Butterfingers, at least in my mind, they're like C tier. Like, if you're talking a Crunch Bar, that's S tier. If you're talking a Three Musketeers, easy S tier. But, you know, Butterfingers, I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna have to try the new recipe. It just gets stuck in my teeth, man. The taste is fine, but the teeth. Chef D. Rasta just joined the Mole Gang. Thank you, Chef. Glad to have you in the kitchen here with us. John Stoops, member for 3 months. Huge Bears fan. Thoughts on Caleb Williams, if any? So I'm not too big into football anymore. So I used to be real big, and I know like the sport and like the plays and stuff really well because I also played it, but I don't really follow it. So like I know who Caleb Williams was. He was picked first, right, in the last draft or whatever. So I honestly don't know a whole lot about him, but I will say, John, that I saw a highlight from the other day from... Like, I think they're scrimmaging, right? Like, they're doing the joint practices or whatever. And I saw him do a lot of, like, really weird throws, like, really quick ones that you weren't expecting. And, you know, again, I'm not a big football head anymore, but it reminded me a little bit of Mahomes. Not that he's going to be that good, but just because Mahomes always does, like, weird sidearm stuff or, like, you know, flips it with his off arm or does whatever to get the ball in the right place. And I saw some throws from Caleb Williams that I thought were pretty interesting in the way that he delivered it. It just seems like he is resourceful, I guess is the way to put it. So that to me is a big thing in football. If I'm even accurate, you know, maybe I'm way off, but I was pretty impressed by what I saw. And yo, guys, thank you for all the donations. There's so many. I'm gonna get through these, and then we're gonna read the chapter right after. Wow, seriously, thank you guys. Knack with the 279 Canadian. Congrats on almost a full arc of reactions on YouTube. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I'm pumped for it. Like, Egghead, you know, great arc. I'm pumped to do an Egghead analysis eventually. But you know, the ending here is drawn on a little bit. I'm ready to move on. If we go to Elbaf, that's great. You guys probably know I want to go to Sphinx Island. I'd love that. But anything other than Egghead right now I think would be great. I'm ready to get a little breather. I really want to get to an island and have like a island-focused arc. You know what I mean? Like how in Wano it was focused on the people of Wano, and most arcs are like that. Dressrosa is about helping people in Dressrosa. I really want to get to Elbaf or somewhere and help those people again, because we might only do it like one more time before the story's over, for all we know. Mr. Bushido, member for 21 months, also 21 Savage. 1024 Spoil, Yamato ties shoes. Well, I can see part of the cover page whenever I pulled it up to set up the stream, and I'm not happy about the cover page, but we will get into that in just a minute. Kuya, member for 11 months. Hype for Elbaf whenever it starts. I 100% agreed. Probably going to be my favorite arc in the story when it's all said and done. Mr. Bushido with the €2 again. Never miss a stream or a carrot theory. Join Discord. Definitely never miss a stream, but the carrot theories, feel free to miss those if you need to. But if you join the Discord, you won't be able to miss the carrot theories. Bushido's got enough to make sure that you're gonna get your fill for sure. You're gonna be able to see through walls with the amount of carrots that you're gonna have, right? Because carrots are supposed to help your eyes, which isn't true apparently, but we're gonna act like it's true. All right, I think I'm caught up on all those. I don't think I missed any. I don't see any over on Twitch either. Okay, thank you. That's amazing, guys. Seriously, that just made my day. Thank you so much. Today's been a very, very busy day, and also even when I was at work and we were eating lunch, the two guys I'm with, which these are like older professional. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in case they're listening. Not older, but older than me. Professional people who are not into One Piece, but they know I do YouTube, and so they're like, "So talk to me about what you're doing." And I told them about the One Piece. I told them, I tried not spoiling them too much, but I told them like, "Yeah, guys, like all we really know is that everyone laughs whenever they see it, but it is an object." And it's waiting there. We still haven't found it after 27 years. And so we talked about One Piece the whole time at lunch, even though they have no idea what was going on. So I've been waiting for this all day is what I'm trying to get at. It's been on my mind. They knew I was trying to get out of work and come here ASAP. So super excited y'all are here. Last two announcements I want to say real quick. Well, Bushido, I'm going to read your super chat too, but just two announcements real quick. To any members on the channel, I guess all these announcements are for you. I just posted last night about a survey that I'm doing. It's non-binding, but it's a Google form where basically, if you're a member, you can go find it right now. Even if you got a membership during the stream, you could still go look at it. It's basically just a Google form where I put some video ideas that I have, and I'm asking you guys to rank them, just to kind of give me some insight into what you guys are thinking or what you guys might prefer for me doing videos in the future. There's like 14 different ones on there, and I'm just kind of gauging your own interest. And there's also a little section where you can recommend video ideas. So if you're a member, please go fill that out. That would help me a lot. And then also, if you're a member, we're going to be doing the next TCG giveaway soon, sometime in the next week, I would say. Well, so I'm going to Anime NYC next weekend, but sometime in the next like week, 2 weeks tops, we're going to be posting about the next TCG giveaway. There's going to be 2 boxes given away next time, so it'll be more cards for people than usual, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, I think I'm caught up other than Mr. Bushido. He said hype for the Yamato cover story whenever it starts. Could have had a better segue myself, Mr. Bushido, because that's exactly what I'm going to talk about here in a moment. So this is the official start of One Piece Chapter 1123 reaction. The Void Fortnite. So I guess we're getting on Fortnite for this chapter. Very dehydrated. I'm gonna be drinking that water this whole time. The Void Fortnite, and so now we have Yamato back inside a building, which if you've been around, you know I'm tired of this. I know she's not in the capital, which was my main issue, but again, we're not moving. Yamato should be moving around the country. Yamato made the goal of traveling like Odin, and Yamato is 11 chapters deep into this cover story, and we've gone one town over. We're 11 cover stories, or pages of the cover story. Enemies forced to share Odin. Of course it's Odin, of course. I do like that these kids are starting to starting to like Yamato, because we saw earlier that they were kind of mad, and that's a result of obviously Kaido, right? Because they associate Yamato with Kaido, which is somewhat reasonable, and it's sort of keeping that cycle of hate going. But now we see that that's turning it on its head, because now they're friends over, or they're becoming friends over a bowl of Odin. I do like that a lot. Yamato, I wish this was just in a different town or something. Like, please keep moving, please, Yamato, please. But I wonder if these kids are going to become Yamato's like scabbards down the line, because remember when Odin found his scabbards, they were super young, right? Like, I don't know if they were quite as young as these kids, but they were definitely like teenagers at the oldest, or that's what they seemed like. I don't know if we know their actual ages or not. We probably do. But yeah, it feels very similar to that. So I'm curious how this pans out. But like I was saying, I just think we could go so much faster than this. I don't know. Oda's taking his good old time here. Maybe he's trying to time things up. Maybe that's why. Maybe because a lot of people, including myself, have brought up the idea that maybe this cover story will end with Blackbeard pulling up or something to get Pluton. And maybe that's what Oda's doing, is he's just biding his time, like he's going real slow so that he can end the cover story right when he wants to use Blackbeard in the main story, if that makes sense. Because in the Whole Cake cover story, it ended, well, I don't know if it ended, but whenever we saw Kuzan with Pudding, that was the same chapter we saw Pudding on Blackbeard's ship, so he already has tied those together, so. Alright, here we go. Now we're into the real chapter. Sorry it took so long, y'all. The Aftermath of Hockey. Egghead Island, respond. And so we do see the giant ship and the Sunny actually leaving now. What's your status? Wake up, you guys. The Straw Hats are escaping. They're all knocked out from the hockey, I presume, like a giant, massive Conqueror's Blast. We got, this guy, this giant, I don't know his name, but I think he's the one who had the guns earlier, and I really liked him when he had the pistols, and he was just, like, look, it was like a straight-on shot. I think that's him. All of them are down. Seriously? That's amazing. That was greater than Red Hair's, but it didn't seem hostile, did it? Haha. Thanks for everything, Iron Giant. Oh, man. Oh, man. What's the robot? Are we going to see what Emmett is thinking? No response yet. Man, that just made Emmett's day, man. Or Emmett. I don't know if it's Emmett or Emmett. I see both all the time, but man. Yeah, that's got to affect him big time. I don't even know what's up with him right now. He's not, it doesn't even look like he's awake, but she. All right, let's go while they're sleeping. We're getting out of here. Ga ba ba. Heh. You heard the captains. Let's go, you bastards. We're off to Elbaf. All right, I mean, we'll see if that's actually what happens, because we've heard this several times, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But so we got Bonnie asleep over here, Zoro, got Usopp, got Dorian Brogy looking down at Usopp, which he's pumped about. Luffy is cooked. He's done with Gear 5th. And so now he's looking over at Vegapunk. Vegapunk, what you said earlier isn't sitting right with me. Was this all some sort of gotcha moment for you? Hey now. I couldn't follow everything you were saying, but it was pretty outrageous, wasn't it? It's time to find out if this man is actually dead or not. I mean, like, he's supposed to be, but if I don't know, man. I would not be shocked if he comes back. Egghead 2 weeks prior. There are some anomalous readings coming from the power station. You can say that again. Monitor for any fluctuations in particle density and neutron flux. The energy used by the Seraphim is meant to gradually increase over time. This could be a grave error if we miscalculated. Wait, aren't these numbers different from our earlier confirmed readings? Yes, and the rate of the reaction is increasing too, but the power station seems stable. This data seems to indicate that someone has tampered with the Mother Flame to steal its energy. Every single data point related to the power station has been carefully modified. To pull this off, the culprit has to be a Vegapunk. Was it Lilith? Vegapunk, you are the One Piece community, or at least you were, or you know what I mean? You were the past version of it. Because that is, I feel like, what everyone was saying before the reveal happened. I'm afraid the three of us are the only ones with ironclad alibis. An insane amount of energy was stolen, so we have to observe the other four to determine who is responsible, especially Lilith. They just keep mentioning it. Lilith is the only one who got away, so that's kind of a cool little connection. We have to put our brains in the, at least, yeah, well, we don't know where Edison's at, but we have to put our brains into offline stealth mode too. That's right. If our memories of this get uploaded to Punk Records, then the culprit will know we're on to them. Bro, the focus on Lilith is hilarious. Is that Oda, like, memeing us? 1 week before the present. Attention, I've identified the culprit. It's York. What? The memories she's been synchronizing with Punk Records are phony. I've also confirmed that the surveillance snails at the scene of the crime were tampered with too. Why would she do such a thing? And my bad, Lilith. I've also found evidence that suggests someone deployed the weaponized sea beast without authorization. A jamming white transponder snail was also found in our investigation. I know we can reconstruct the cell data directly from our long-distance transponder snail. Dr. Vegapunk is researching the Void Century. She rang Marie-Joie? No wonder Cypherpole keeps coming here to snoop around. So before I continue, I just gotta say, like, I feel like, I mean, I don't know where this is going, but this feels like stuff we should have gotten earlier. Like maybe he's going to talk about it, or Oda is going to talk about it here in a moment, but like we still don't even know what happened over the course of the night, like from between chapter 1078 and chapter 1089 when we skipped over to Elbath and all that stuff. We still don't know what really happened over the course of the night, and I just feel like we're getting a lot of background info that maybe we should have known before the arc ended, but very interesting. 6 days before the present, the kingdom of Lelucia has been erased. The details are still a bit foggy, but I have a bad feeling about this. Pythagoras, observe any changes to the sea levels and monitor all wireless transmissions. Yes, sir. Do you think this has something to do with the theft of the Mother Flame? I'm sure of it. That portion of the flame must have been delivered to the government by one of the weaponized sea beasts. If you'll permit me to indulge in pure conjecture, it seems plausible that the government possesses one of the ancient weapons, and they must have needed the Mother Flame energy that York stole to fuel it. We'll see if the evidence supports my conclusion. I love Oda. I love you, because you're bringing this up, and if you guys know my theories on this already, this is what everyone is thinking, and here's Vegapunk saying we're gonna have to see if the evidence supports it, because he even isn't 100% sure of it. But we're gonna learn more here in a minute. Even if this deduction is sound, it's hard to speak it aloud. It's my fault after all. Only a fool lets their greed run amok, and I went and personified mine. That is a really interesting line. Only a fool lets their greed run amok, and I went and personified mine. That is so cool. Is there any benefit to apprehending York now that we know? No, it's too late for that. York's motives are irrelevant now. They will still come to erase anyone who knows of the Void Century. York already demonstrated her worth to them by rashly handing over the Mother Flame. The best we can do is use that trust as an opportunity to determine their intent for the flame and try to mitigate the damage. Stella, we still have a chance to escape if we flee now. Prepare a boat for the other residents, Quasar. They still have a shot of escaping Egghead. But it'll be impossible for us. The Navy will have issued secret orders to every branch in base by now. They'll chase us to the ends of the world, and our inevitable deaths will be meaningless. At least here on Egghead, we have something that O'Hara didn't 22 years ago. We have the means and equipment to amplify our voices as far and wide as possible. What exactly is the world government? The closer I get, the more shrouded it becomes. If I must die, I will sell my life dearly. I love this guy. Of all the videos that I have planned in the future, the Vegapunk analysis might be my favorite one. I apologize for wrapping you two into all of this. Don't be silly. We're Vegapunks just like you. We're all thinking the same thing. So is this why they were in the video with Vegapunk? People were bringing that up because we didn't really know, and that it makes sense. Just one issue, Stella. What exactly constitutes death for someone like us? Good point. There is one other thing we must safeguard. He doesn't. I need answers to that, Vegapunk. Our cloud loft technology to manufacture artificial island clouds. It may be pivotal in saving humanity in the near future. Because of the flooding, I'm presuming, is why you're bringing that up? Huh? Stella, what are you doing here? Oh, is that you, York? You know, same old, same old. Interesting. He was putting the Denden Mushi in there, I'm guessing. If our experiments to optimize the Mother Flame allow this thing to move again... Okay, so that's a cool connection there, but I'm just going to keep reading. It'd be a big breakthrough in creating our ideal energy source. Yep, that's right. It'd be amazing if we achieve that soon. Right. I can only pray it never gets perfected, because then York would use it, because that goes back to what I talked about in my Void Century video, and I mean, other people have talked about it too, but... Excuse me. The ancient power source is better than the Mother Flame. It's so strong that if they were to perfect it like they're talking about here, they'd be able to create their own sun. And going back to Eni's Lobby, which has its daylight 24/7, it seems like that successfully happened. So I think this is basically Vegapunk admitting, like, you know, like, he doesn't want to get it because York's gonna, like, Eni's Lobby's probably worse than Lelouch set of, like, one at a time, where you have to keep loading. You have to, like, get another bit of Mother Flame every time. I don't really know, but obviously whatever you can make with that power source is a lot more dangerous. 2 days before the present. Go ahead and speak now. The recording has begun. So that was only 2 days ago, okay. Ahem. Mic check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Attention world, hello there. This is Dr. Vegapunk, the world's greatest and most humble scientific genius. I feel like that sentence is a paradox. Like, when you say you're the world's greatest and most humble, like, you can't really... I don't even know if you can really say both. Because, like, you're not that humble if you're saying you're the greatest. What we said will come as a big shock, right? Maybe, but everyone has a right to know the truth. No one will ever expect the transponder snail to be hidden here. My death will trigger the message to be sent out worldwide. We need to ensure that no one finds out till it's too late. Any abnormality in our behavior could be a tip-off that spoils our plans. Erasing our own memories is the safest bet. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That said, there will be consequences. We'll lose all memories related to this those bombshells all over again. Indeed. The fear we feel for our lives will be brand new to us, but we have to put our countermeasures in place. Even if things go sideways, it'll still be our victory. And I love in the background, it looks like lightning a little bit, but I think it's also like a heart, you know, like a heart monitor thing a little bit, I think is what they're going for. Okay, man, we're still in this. The Memory Mass Research Lab. What are we doing here? This is my handwriting. Good morning, everybody. You'll find that you three have a missing fortnight's worth. Oh, so void fortnight. And so I bet you a lot of people, I don't even have to look at the chat for this. I am sure a lot of people are taking this situation and saying that this is part of the Void Century, because we have the Void Fortnite, Void Century, like it's void because all of his memories got erased of the event, right? So I'm sure there's tons of people saying that right now, like, oh, everyone's memories got erased from the Void Century, or whatever. Which I do think there's more to it than that, but I'm sure a lot of people are bringing that up. You three have a missing fortnight's worth of memories that were wiped of your own volition. A number of things will probably come as a surprise because of this, which is ironically pretty amusing, huh? I will tell you one thing, though. The world government has found out about our research into the Void Century. Huh? They found out? I have already taken the best precautions possible. You will just have to put your faith in me and die. Oh, and one last thing. This is crazy. One last thing. Am I really telling myself to go die? Stella, Emperor Straw Hat's crew, and Bonnie have just made landfall. What? Cypher Pole is approaching too. What? There's also a naval armada coming to blockade the island. What? Admiral Kizaru and Elder Saint Saturn seem to be with them. What? Dude, alright. Oda, that's hilarious. After we rescue Bonnie from down there, I think it'd be best if I stayed put. Huh? You'll die. You don't need to help me escape anymore. I've thought about it. Just let me die here. What? Do you have a death wish? Far from it. But I've come to believe that my death will set something important into motion. This is going to be a big mess. We can't just sit there and watch you die. We've got to do something. One more thing. It's about the One Piece. What about it? I want you guys to be the ones who find it. Here's to reuniting with old friends. Cheers. Hold on. Do this later. Wait for me. Because Luffy's too tired for it. Woo, we're off to the land of my dreams. Elbaf, thinking 2 moves ahead. No break next week. Well, that was a big chapter in terms of, like, I felt like I was talking forever. I felt like there was so much dialogue in this one. That was crazy. Like, every panel had words on it. Very, very interesting chapter. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. I am like... I'm very confused right now. So, I'm confused first off about, let's just talk, is this the end of Egghead? Because very cool panel to end on here with the giants and all that stuff, that's cool, but like, we still have the robot and Saturn having a stare down, right? Like, we can't just leave without that getting resolved, right? Like, I mean, maybe. We also got to see what the government's going to take. Like, are they going to take the Mother Flame? Are they going to take Punk Records? Are they going to take the Cloud Machine? So there's probably got to be more Egghead. Like, I don't know. Maybe Oda could, like, do a, like, just, we could move on, and then maybe he can do, like, a flashback later. Like, maybe we'll see Saturn later on, and he'll flashback to what happened. Maybe that's his plan. But this is very strange. I'm not really sure how to feel about all of this. And like I said partway through, it feels a little weird to me getting all of this backdrop at the very end, right? Like, some of this I feel like would be really helpful during the arc. Like I get the point here, like Oda's trying to save some of this because it's really cool to understand, you know, Vegapunk knew what he was doing all along, like he was preparing for this, but also like wiping his memory. So like the Vegapunk we were meeting didn't really know about all this, but obviously he knew before he erased the memory, so I get why we couldn't really learn it, because, you know, he kind of has to get the backdrop later, but still there's so much here. Like, just so much info. And like I said before, we still don't even know what happened over the course of the night between, you know, before, like, leading into chapter 1089, which I'm kind of surprised about. Like, Oda can't just skip that forever, I feel like. Wow. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm sure you guys have a lot to say here. But one thing I want to touch on real quick is this part with Punk Records. Shout out to the 150 people here, by the way. Appreciate you guys. Please like the stream if you haven't already. The part where it says, just one issue, Stella. What exactly constitutes death for someone like us? Good point. Because we know Punk Records is still working, even though Vegapunk died. I don't know. I feel like there's so many unanswered things here, and I don't know if Oda's gonna bother answering them, like, or like he might just wait. Like I said, like maybe we'll just see Saturn later and he'll explain it in a separate arc. Wow, that hell of a chapter in ways that I did not expect. I guess this it's a weird chapter. I'll be honest. This is very strange. If this is the last chapter of Egghead, this is for sure the weirdest final chapter of an arc we've ever had. The last chapter of Wano was my least favorite chapter of the arc also, though, so I really hope this isn't the last one so Oda can make up for it, because I did not like chapter 1057 or 8, whichever one, where he gives Momo the flag and we don't get to see the flag in the capital, which I felt like was just silly. There's a lot of other things, but this is just weird, is what this is. Like, I don't know if I would say bad, but different for sure. All right, I'm gonna get to the super chats now. Hopefully you guys cover a lot of the things I kind of want to discuss. Let's see here. Bushido, I saw that. Okay. I do see the ones on Twitch, by the way. I'm not going to miss those. I'm just going to try doing these all in order, or try my best at least. Okay, I saw Bushido's Yamato one. Bushido with the €5. Thank you again, bro. I know there's a few super chats from you in here, so I just want to give you a major thank you real quick. I can see Oda taking his time with the cover, but couldn't he just start the cover story later? Yamato really is doing nothing. Dude, I completely agree with you. Wholeheartedly, 100%. I don't know if Oda even knows what he's doing with the Yamato cover story at this point. And I love Oda. He's a genius. He's better at writing than me, or I have no problem saying that. I'll never be on his level. That's completely fine. But I feel like it's a fair criticism to say that this cover story is whack so far. And not the idea. I'm pumped to see Yamato. I'm not a Yamato hater. It's just I'm a hater of Yamato being in buildings in the cover story. Like we're 11 chapters deep. I'm pretty sure Yamato's been inside a building for eight of the pages. You know what I mean? So Bushido, I'm 100% with you. Like we're 11. How long is this cover story gonna go for? You know. Also, Vex, I know you didn't super chat this, but you said Lilith catching strays is the funniest shit. I agree. That's hilarious. And that's what I mean by Oda has been like he knows the theorist thought that, right? Like I'm 100% on the side of Oda is making fun of theorists there, because that's what everyone was saying at the time. And also, I just want to, I'm sure I'm going to have some comments about this, because this is like the #1 thing people disagree with me on, I feel like, of all of my theories. But the thing where Vegapunk's like, so I presume they got an ancient weapon right here. So like, we'll see if the evidence supports my conclusion. Like that's not an, like it's kind of like whenever he talked about devil fruits and was like, but that's just my theory. Like Oda's giving us some plausible deniability, and I think the Lilith thing is one example where he's making fun of theorists, and I think this ancient weapon, using Mother Flame to power the ancient weapon, that's what everyone thinks is going on, and I seriously think Oda's doing the same thing here. He's making fun, sort of the theorists by saying that, right? He's like, okay, I know everyone thinks this, so I'm gonna get him hyped, but I'm gonna throw in a little plausible deniability just to, you know, shit on him later, but... Also, shout out to the 160 people here. We have even more people here now. Thank you. Kush Daddy with the $5. The world's smartest human being is still human, incapable of human error. Say it isn't so. And look, that's one of the many reasons I love Vegapunk, man. Like, he's not perfect, right? He is the world's greatest genius, but he's not perfect, and he knows that. And I know that we always say he's a perfectionist, right? Like, we look at the pink version of Kaido's fruit, and he says it's a failure, and it's like, well, it's just the color, dude. Like, I don't know. It's awesome to me that Vegapunk still has, you know, like some fallibility, like legitimately, like in other ways, even in kind of normal ways. Oh, sorry, buddy. All right. Oh, by the way, the buddy was my dog. I just realized maybe, I don't know if you, whenever I said, hey, buddy, I don't know if you thought I was talking to you, but that was my dog. Sorry. Sam Fisher with the $5. I'm really glad that Vegapunk acknowledged that he's an idiot for literally personifying his greed. It really speaks to Egghead's capitalism allegory. So tying back to what Kush Daddy was saying, it's amazing that even though this guy can make these crazy things, some of them are mistakes, right? Or maybe he thought about it the wrong way, or, you know, and I actually think it even ties back to the lesson we learned with Frankie and Tom, right? Where they're like, you got to love your creations. Like, you're gonna make dangerous things, and it's like all about what your intentions are, right? Like, if you're making something and, you know, you're not going to use it for a bad reason, even if it is dangerous, like, it's okay. And now maybe in the real world it gets a little, you know, stickier than that, but I love that lesson from him just in regards to Vegapunk, because Vegapunk's made some things that he probably regrets now, and I would have really, really loved a moment for Frankie to tell Vegapunk, like, hey dude, it's okay, like, this, you're creating, you didn't mean to do anything bad, it's fine. I think that would just be so, like, that would have been such a good moment. And if, you know, like I said, we don't, with this line about what really constitutes death, like, I still think Stella could come back, like, as, like, a hologram, right? If his brain still works, Oda, this is Oda we're talking about, right? He can figure anything out. So yeah, I really want to see Vegapunk maybe even have more reflection on what he did. Because that was such a big thing for Tom and Frankie, and I just feel like Vegapunk is sort of like Tom, but different, right? Tom was more of like they're both obviously like Frankie, you know, like leader, like role models or whatever, but one's sort of like an emotional one, and one's more of like an intellectual one, even though Tom was really smart too. It's just Vegapunk's a whole other level. So I don't know. I really hope Vegapunk's not done so we can hear more about that for sure. Did I see John Sherrod in the chat? I didn't see any top man this chapter, man. He might be done. Trevor Verges with the $5, artist on the channel. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you for stopping in. 10 out of 10 chapter because Shaka Eyeballs confirmed reading note. Let me know what panel you want for the redacted thumb so I can get started right now. Ooh. Oh, man, I wasn't even thinking about that during the... Honestly, it's such a weird chapter, I have no idea. Trevor, I will get back to you as soon as this is over about that. I'm gonna start thinking now because I was not. I should have been. Shaka, wait, but the Shaka eyeballs. Hold on, did I miss that at some point? Are you saying we saw Shaka's eyeballs? Is that what you're saying? Maybe you can just send me a note. Is that Shaka eyeballs confirmed reading note? Wait, maybe just send me a message in the Discord because I'm not exactly sure, but if we saw Shaka's eyes, that's crazy. And as for the panel, dude, I really don't know. There was not any super crazy panels, I feel like. But I'll think about it, man. I will definitely think about it. Trevor, thank you. Chef D. Rasta with the $20, man. Thank you very, very, very much. Very generous of you. Is anyone else upset that Doll is still a child from Bonnie's Power? Very good point. I didn't even think about that. Very good point. I feel like a Vice Admiral should have enough hockey to power through that by now. Love your work, Dak. I watch you while I do my morning prep and always makes my days better. Oh, Chef, man, chefing as always. And when you say you're doing your morning, I assume you meant prep there, not perp. Well, perp there is spelled P-E-R-P, which, you know, like perpetrator. But I was gonna say my morning perp is the P-U-R-P perp. I like that's the perp I do in the morning. But I assume you meant morning prep. I don't know if you meant you mean like at a restaurant? Is that what you're talking about? If so, then you really are the chef. That's amazing. When I used to work at Chipotle, morning prep was by far my favorite thing to do. I actually wanted to leave once the store opened, but I would get there at like 6 a.m. and prep, and I loved cutting lettuce and cilantro. I don't even know if that's what you're talking about, but either way, that means a lot. And I want to talk a little bit more about what you're talking about with Doll, because that's a good point. Because so you mentioned the hockey part of it. I think the hockey part's a good argument too. But honestly, it's the time limit part that's bothering me, because how long ago did she get turned into a kid, and she still is? Like, Bonnie's powers are temporary, right? Like, they don't, and when I say temporary, it seems like we don't know this explicitly to my knowledge, but it seems like it's like 30 seconds or something. Yeah, that is really weird. It's a little bit of an inconsistency. Like, I feel like that's something that Oda's just gonna hope we ignore and not really think about. That is interesting. And is she the only one? She's the only kid that I really see. That is really weird, dude. That's just Oda just forgot or something. Okay, hold on, Trevor. I saw your Discord message. I want to go back to that real quick. So Shaka's eyes. Hold on. Where is that panel? I saw the one you sent me. I'm just trying to find it. Oh, right here. Shaka's eyes are popping out. That's hilarious. The world government's found out about our research into the Void Century, and then his eyes pop out. That's hilarious, Trevor. I did not even notice that, but that's awesome. That is so funny. But yeah, Chef, thank you again. Oda's gonna get an SBS question about Doll, I bet you. Kush Daddy with the $5. Thank you, Kush. That's like your third donation, I feel like, this stream. Skypeans escape the rising sea to the Sky Islands. That's why they're obsessed with Verth, but don't remember why. They miss being on the ground. That's an interesting thought, but it's kind of the reverse, because the people on Sky Islands were originally up on the moon. So now I gotta think about this a little bit more. Like, so if they started on the moon, and that was at least 1100 years ago, so that precedes the Void Century. If they were up on the moon, then they came down. To our knowledge, only one of the races went to the Blue Sea, which were the Shandians, and they had a poneglyph. The other ones stayed in the sky, which were the Skypeans and the Birkins. Now the question is, did the Skypeans and Birkins actually come down to the Blue Sea, but then go back up to the sky when the flood happened? Or did they always stay in the sky and they don't even know that a flood happened? You know, That's something I definitely am gonna think about and probably have like a shower thought on, or a lawnmower thought. Like whenever I'm mowing the lawn, they happen more when I mow the lawn than take a shower at this point, because mowing the lawn takes a lot longer than taking a shower. But any monotonous task, I'm gonna think about that, because the Verth part of it's important too, right? Because like the reason they're obsessed with Verth is because they need it to grow crops, right? Like if you're going to think of this galactically, like the Earth is a conduit for the sun to grow life on. That's that's not like the best way of putting it, but like, you know, like if you're on the moon and you have the sun there, it's kind of useless because like the moon that you're on is not going to be able to grow plants, right? Same thing with Sky Island. But if you go all the way down to Earth, which the reason the Sky Races even left the moon was for the Earth's resources, you know, then you can actually take advantage of the sun and everything else because you can grow food for yourself and get energy in that way, right? It's energy conversion, because you're taking the sun's energy, goes into the plants, you eat the plants, right? And so I really got to think about that, because even in another way of thinking about it is, if the Sky Races left the moon for the Earth's resources, but then went to the Sky Islands, they weren't even really getting the Earth's resources, right? Like you need to go all the way down to the sea to get the water and the land. And so they would have never even really accomplished the mission then. So I got a lot to think about there, Kushja. That's a very interesting super chat. Thank you. Growth Stonks, member for 8 months. Elbaf, here we come. Is Sphinx still on the agenda? Sphinx is definitely still on my agenda. So I want to go find that panel, because I was actually going to say this, and I'm really glad you brought it up. I figured somebody would. And I'm glad it's you, Growth Stonks, because we've talked about this a lot. Let me find it. Is it up here? The first one where they say, yeah. So this one where it's like, we're off to Elbaf, and like they're leaving the island. So I'm going to see if I can find the panel and show you guys, but whenever we left, was it Thriller Bark or was it Eddie's Lobby? I'm embarrassed that I can't remember, because it would have been one of the two, but pretty sure post Eddie's Lobby. Either way, one of those two arcs, we left there and we said the same thing. Next stop, Fishman Island. And then we went to Sabaody and then Marineford. Well, Impel Down, everyone got split up, right? But we had multiple islands and 2 years in between, and we even went to Sabaody a second time before we finally went to Fishman Island, right? We did go there, like we're going to Elbaf, but the idea that like, you know, we could slip something in first has already been, has already happened. Okay, here. Yeah, it was after Ennie's Lobby. I'm gonna see if I can bring it over here easily. Oh, I can. Okay, I'm gonna not show this for too long because copyright lords don't like this. But so this was right after Ennie's Lobby. Next stop, Fishman Island. Spoiler alert, it was not the next stop. Several stops in between, actually. And I think Oda's done that with another arc too, where he said we were gonna go. Maybe it was Alabasta, and then we went to Drum Kingdom. So I'm still big on going to Sphinx. We're gonna go to Elbaf. It's just we're gonna make a pit stop because, as I brought up in my video, Sphinx is in between Wano and Elbaf. So there's a very good chance that we're just gonna pass Sphinx on the way. And as for why we would need to stop there at this point, well, I brought this up like every stream, but there's a hole in the side of the giant ship. It was from the Sea Beast whenever Bluegrass, my least favorite admiral, although Vice Admiral, but hey, she actually gained some points because of that moment. But she put a hole in the ship, and you can actually see the crack, actually. That's actually really cool. On this panel, I think you guys can kind of see it. I have the chats blocking it, but over on the left side of the ship, yeah, you can see my cursor moving like a little bit. Probably can't on mobile, but you can see the crack in the side of the ship over there. They haven't really talked about it since it happened, but the way that a hole like that would work is that little bits of water would get in at a time and start sinking the ship slowly. So if Sphinx Island is before Elbaf, it could just be that they stop there to drain the ship and patch the hole and then keep moving. So it would be a very quick thing, and there'd be a lot of other stuff that happens, as I talked about in my video, but I still think we're gonna stop somewhere else. But if we go right to Elbaf, I'm not going to be complaining. I'm just going to be sad that we skipped over the graves. But Sam Fisher with the $5. Read that one last thing trail off as something unrevealed, so I'm curious as to what the one last thing is. Hold on, let me go back down here. Is it... Okay, so you're saying up here with this part. Okay, let me reread this. The world government has found out about our research into the Void Century. Huh? They found out? I have already taken the best precautions possible. You will just have to put your faith in me and die. Oh, and one last thing. You're right, because see how, like, they're all in quotes, and then down here we, like... I could read it either way. Like, the way that I read it originally was that he's saying, oh, and one last thing, and then he lists all these things off. Because it's obviously several things, and that's kind of the joke of it. Like, it's one last thing, but it's not, and it's a bunch of crazy, crazy, crazy things that are going on they didn't know about. So that's how I read it. But now that you bring it up, like, these have different boxes. They're in like the boxes look like pieces of paper or something, you know, like the rough edges. And they have quotes around them, like it's actually like he's quoting himself directly. But then whenever you go down to this other part, they don't have the quotes anymore, and it's a different kind of bubble. So I actually do think that this is like what they were talking about in the room, and then this second one, this other panel with all like the what, that's probably like a current time update or current time to the day of, right? Because, like, it's not like they woke up and all this stuff was going on at the same time. At least I doubt it. Because, like, you can see, like, explosions happening on the island. Like, he was in the robot before anything happened and Cypherpole showed up. So, actually, I think you're right, Sam Fisher. I don't know what that one last thing is. There's a lot of things in Vegapunk's message, or even before he died, where he kind of trailed off and didn't tell us. Like a whole lot of context. So we need that, I feel like. Paths, member for 12 months, member of the Afro Gang. No message attached, Paths. I appreciate you. Oh, I see you said, shoot, in the chat. Well, hey, bro, if you wanna type something, I mean, I owe you a message, so I'll definitely shout something out. Don't worry about it. Now, I might miss it because I'm going through the other super chats, so, I mean, you can just DM me on Discord, and I'll try to check it after this if you want. You should be able to DM me, I think. Mr. Bushido with the €5. I don't know about this ending. The island still didn't blow up. Kizaru is still out there, and he can get to the giant ship in a blink. Very good point. Yeah, I brought up, you know, like Saturn and the robot. Like, we still have to see how that ends. But you're right. We need a little bit of Kizaru resolution here, right? Not even. I don't need to see him, you know, leave the Marines. I don't need to see him even get up and fight. But we gotta see him again. Like, I can't see him. The last thing that we see of him is him just in the ship, like leave me out of it. I'm too tired. Like, that'd be mind-blowing for me. Maybe what's happening here is a little bit like Punk Hazard, where, you know how, like, Punk Hazard ended, but then we had the, like, Doflamingo pulled up, and Kuzan pulled up, and Smoker was there, and all that stuff. There was, like, a little bit of aftermath in that regard. Maybe that's what Oda's planning for, because this obviously is a Punk Hazard parallel while being a Vegapunk lab island. Yeah, I'm very... If this is the end of the arc, Oda fumbled a little bit, I'm not going to lie to you. David Cott, €5. 0 out of 10. Worst chapter of Egghead by far. Wow. Makes Vegapunk look dumber than he already seemed. I made a full Reddit post on this. I will send a link later on Discord. I don't know if I would say 0 out of 10. Personally, I think Vegapunk, like, almost looks smarter to a degree, because he even, like, erased his own memory to make this all happen, right? This kind of goes back to, I think, what we were saying earlier, where Vegapunk isn't perfect, right? He is a genius, but genius doesn't mean, you know, like omniscient, you know? He makes a lot of inventions. He understands the world pretty well, but he's not perfect. And he obviously has made some mistakes, and that's part of the lesson here. I think that's always been part of his shtick, is that, like, he worked for the government, even though that's a bad thing, and creating bad things to do good things on the other side. So he's always making mistakes, technically, because helping the government is sort of a mistake automatically. But he's always making mistakes to then make solutions. You know, like, he needs to have one without the other. And now some of these are unforced to a degree, right? Like making York, like, no one told him to do that. But I don't. It's humanizing Vegapunk to me a little bit, which I like that. But 0 out of 10, man. 0. Man, that's real strong. Zero is. That's what I give chapter, whatever the last one of Wano was that I talked about earlier. That's probably my only 0 out of 10 that I could even think of. That's intense, man. definitely definitely shoot me or put that in the Discord. Maybe you already did. I see a couple mentions here on the Discord. Let's see. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici, one of the coolest names on YouTube. A starving Luffy is heading to Elbaf. What if the Winter Solstice Festival is taking place and the main conflict will be with the giants themselves? Oh, I like that idea a lot, man. So as far as Luffy being, hungry right now, Oda has completely desensitized me to that, because during this arc, during Egghead, Luffy went in and out of Gear 5th so many times where he would get tired, go into Gear 5th, get tired, find food. Go back into Gear 5th, get tired, find food. He did it like 5 times, or at least 4 in this arc. And it honestly started bothering me a little bit, because now it feels like there just is no time limit to Gear 5th. Because if he can just eat and go and fix it, then, who cares at that point? So I'm not sure about starving Luffy really being that much of a catalyst, but you bringing up the Winter Solstice Festival is really, really interesting, because whether Luffy's starving or not, if he gets to that island and there's no food, that's going to be a problem for him, right? Where everyone's fasting over the winter, which we saw with Big Mom, right? Now, I don't know if that was necessarily like that they didn't have food or they were just opting to not eat, right? I think like in real life, the idea is that there wasn't a lot of food, but I don't know if that's actually what was happening in Elbaf for Big Mom. Because it's kind of seemed like they were just waiting, like just for like keep themselves honest, or like to respect to the gods or whatever, right? But I kind of like that idea though, that Luffy gets there and everyone's not eating, and Luffy's like, why? What in the world? Like, eating's the best. And they're like, well, it's because of our gods. And Luffy's like, your god is dumb. Start eating. And then what if Elbaf is like, well, our god is sun god Nika. And then Luffy will be like, what? Whoa. Like, well, that Luffy won't care, but it'll be like, wait, that's me. No, I don't care. Eat. And they'll be like, whoa. They'll be like so confused. I think that would actually be really cool, where like they're doing something on behalf of their god and they find out it's Nika, and then Luffy's like, forget it. I am Nika. Don't worry about it. Like, not that he actually is, but I just think that plot line would be really interesting. That's all. Have I skipped over? Okay, I'm going to go over to Twitch next real quick, because I should have read some of those. Isaac, my guy, resubscribed for Prime for 13 months, which definitely the longest over on Twitch. And Isaac, I hope you're going to be Anime NYC again. I don't know if you're about to say it, but I hope you are, because I'm going next week. If Vegapunk had put the snail on the Iron Giant before Luffy made it there, why was he there again? Don't quite get it. He should not have known about that. So you're saying, like, why was he in the robot when Luffy showed up if the snail was already in there? I guess he's researching it, right? Because actually that does kind of line up, because he even says, like, in this one part to York, like, well, I hope we don't figure it out, because then York, yeah, I can only pray it never gets perfected. So I'm guessing Vegapunk was acting like he was still because Vegapunk deleted some of his memory, right? So I don't think Vegapunk knows that he put it in there after he redid his memory. So I think when Luffy showed up, Vegapunk was genuinely working on the robot, not knowing any better. Like, he didn't even know the snail was in there, probably. That's how I'm reading it. But that is interesting to think about, just how he, like, went right back to work. And like he says here, I can only pray it never gets perfected. That actually hits harder with the context you kind of gave, because it's basically like, Vegapunk's going to delete this memory from himself, so he's like, I really hope I don't figure this out. If I figure this out and York's able to steal it, I'm cooked. Like, the fact he deleted the memory is everything. So that's actually really crazy. And then my guy Vex with the 69 bits, very nice, over on Twitch. 2 more chapters of Egghead. I hope so. If this is the last chapter, it wasn't the best ending it could have been. I'll say that much. That's for sure. I know you have your bingo card, so I'm sure you're rooting for that. So I'm with you. At least 1 more, probably 2 more, if we're gonna wrap up Saturn and the Iron Giant and the Marines taking stuff from the island, like Punk Records, the Mother Flame, the Cloud thing, York herself, whatever. We're going to need some of that resolution. We need to see Kizaru. The island probably should blow up, to be honest with you. I'm still big on that. So I don't know exactly what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. What a weird chapter. I'm like still like shaking a little bit. All right, I see one other thing on Twitch, so I'm just going to read that just so I don't forget, even though I'm getting a little ahead. Time Lord with the 69 bits, my guy, always cooking in the chat. Firstly, give the Yamato cover page time to cook. Remember, we took a bit before we got to the Vegapunk section of the Germa story. Well, before I read the rest, because I see you say as for the chapter. Well, I feel like the Germa story was kind of interesting to begin with, though, because like things were moving pretty quickly, because like we saw them like in the book get taken for like a surgery, and like they were about to get operated on, but then like everything caught on fire. Like I can't remember exactly what everything started with, but like we're 11 pages in. I don't think it took 11 pages for Germa to get to some good stuff, because like once the Blackbeard pirate showed up, that's when that cover story got like really, really good. Wait, are you talking about? Hold on, wait. You said the Vegapunk section of the Germa story. Okay, so do you mean like the Germa part of it, or the Neomads part of it? I guess is that what you're referring to? I thought it was all good though. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is like there was a lot going on in the cover story in general, and I just feel like this one, like everything that Yamato's done could have been covered in like 2 pages. Is how I feel like. That's my main issue. It's not that like I'm not excited for what's gonna happen. I just feel like Oda's dragging his feet for some reason. It's just like I said, 7 of the chapters, or 8, have been Yamato in a building, which I just think is way too much building talk. Like she's saying bye to everybody. So I don't know. We'll see. As for the chapter, I think we're going to get one more Egghead chapter, essentially half of next chapter, to tie together his final bits and thematics. If York doesn't leave, I'd love her to have a Monet-type death. I like that. Believing her or someone else does something positive only for Vegapunk to have programmed it to kill or switch her off. Also on the candy, Kit Kat or Twix, top 2. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the last part first. Kit Kats are solid. I got nothing against Kit Kats. When I was younger, I would throw up almost every time I ate a Kit Kat. It's not because it was gross. I think it was just like the wafer just was like a weird texture for me or something. So I like them now as an adult, but I think maybe the past is limiting my ranking. So I'm not even going to talk about them because it's personal. But Twix, great call, man. Twix are amazing. Like I've never had a bad Twix ever in my life. There's like the cookie dough Twix, phenomenal. The peanut butter Twix, phenomenal. Regular Twix, phenomenal. I am so glad you brought that up. Twix is easily in my S tier. Got Crunch Bar in S tier. I got Reese's in S tier. Reese's is actually in triple S tier, and Twix is also in S tier. Maybe I should have a stream about this because there's a lot of candies out there. And then as for your part about the next chapter, tie together final bits and thematics. I think what you said about like if York having a Monet type death, I love that. Like I really, really want York to still go to Blackbeard. I just think that is like a match made in heaven in so many different ways. But York is useless without, well, not useless, but not nearly as good without Punk Records and also the Mother Flame. And so it would be kind of cool if maybe York goes down to the Mother Flame and like is with Saturn, like, all right, we got to unplug this and take it with us. And then maybe as she unplugs it, it blows up because Vegapunk had a fail-safe or something, and so the Mother Flame wipes them both out. I would like that. That would be a quick way to kind of end it, too, because, like, if the Mother Flame explodes, it takes care of almost everything I've just brought up, because, like, the Iron Giant will most likely die in that. Saturn, if he doesn't die, will... That's a situation where like it can be like a Kaido Big Mom thing, and maybe Saturn blows up and we just don't know what happened to him for a while. Like that'd be kind of cool. York would die from it. All the equipment that we're talking about would get erased. Punk Records would get blown up, so that means that Vegapunk is dead finally. Like there's no chance of him coming back, I would presume at that point. Or even like the satellites might, they wouldn't have Vegapunk's brain anymore, which is an interesting thing. So. Yeah, I'd be really surprised if this is the last we see of Egghead, but at the same time, like, it feels like an ending a little bit, like at least at the very end here, but I don't know. Very weird. Let me get back over to this other YouTube super chats. Also, thank you, Baby Slam Dunk, for following on Twitch, because we're trying to grow that over there a little bit. Kuya Pixels back over on YouTube. 6 out of 10 chapter. I might agree with that ranking. I'm close to that. I hope Egghead doesn't end like this. I initially had it as a 5 out of 10, but this chapter was not it if it's the ending of Egghead. Yeah, if it's the ending of Egghead, it's like a 4 out of 10. You know, it's real bad. If this is a precursor to the end and we have like two more chapters that, like I said, are like an ending of Punk Hazard type situation, then maybe I can bump it up to a 6 or something. But like the stuff that, like, the content of the chapter is fine. It would have hit harder, I think, introduced earlier in different points. Like, I think getting all of this at once, right when it ends, like, it's good and we needed it and everything. I don't know if this was the right way to do it, you know? There's a lot of, just like so much backdrop that I feel like could have given us context earlier. So it's just weird. It's just weird. David Cott. Again, after reread, Egghead arc is a 7.5 out of 10 for me. It was a 6.5 out of 10 before rereading due to recency bias. Kuma and Marijois flashbacks were peak. Yeah, I agree with that. Like the early parts of Egghead, where like we got introduced to the holograms and we met Vegapunk and heard about his dream and saw Lucci's awakened form and set up the murder mystery. All that was fire, and then we skipped away to Hachinosu and Elbaf and the Reverie, and all that was peak. Like we're talking, like that's where the anime's at now, and it's peak. Whenever we got back, I was a little confused that we skipped over the night, but we got some more peak where, you know, we got to see Kizaru versus Luffy a little bit. We saw Saturn's form. We got the start of, we got the God Valley flashback, or part of it, right? We don't know the full context, but a lot of it. And we got the Kuma flashback. All that to me was like 8 or 9 out of 10 material up to that point. But the ending of this definitely sunk it a little bit. If this is the actual ending, it's I feel a little bit like I did with Wano, where I was like, okay, we were cooking so hard, and then I don't know, it didn't end as beautifully as I wanted. So I kind of agree with you. I don't know about the numbers, just because I usually think in terms of like a tier list, just because then it's like more relative to other arcs. But I would say I'm probably somewhere around a 7.5. Egghead's probably like around the lower end of my top 10 right now, I would say. So I'm probably with you. Somewhere around there. I think rereading will help me too. Alejandro Solis with the $2. Alejandro, I'm going to send your package of TCG cards out very soon. I'm sorry to everybody. And if anyone else is wondering, they're going to be shipped out tomorrow at the latest. Just been so busy lately. You said Oda is in a music concert arc equal affects the Oda is in a music concert arc equal affects the last arc. Wait, are you saying Oda is in a music concert, like in real life? Is that what you're saying? Is that an actual thing? Or am I just misunderstanding? Oh, actually, I tried Googling it real quick, and apparently Oda is a music streaming service somewhere. So I did, or they're speakers. Apparently, I did not know that. Which that I might have to buy some Oda speakers now that you brought it up. Okay, now I just lost the super chat entirely. Don't tell me got erased by the higher ups. Oh, there it is. Oh, taking me a second to find it. Well, maybe it's time to use Streamlabs. I keep scrolling through the whole chat trying to find it. You said Oda has been going to a lot of concerts lately. Interesting. That's interesting, given that he already had Film Red, you know, in the Song Fruit. So that's interesting that he's doing it now. But I mean, he's always been a big music guy, as we know, with Bink Sake and. I mean, well, there's a lot of different music in One Piece. If you're counting the OSTs, there's like a million that are high quality, but he obviously doesn't make all of those. But you know, music's obviously a big part, or a big thing on Oda's mind, because it's such a major part of One Piece. So, maybe he is getting prepped for the last arc, man. Maybe he's getting ready because he knows music's going to be so important to the ending. Paths for $5. This chapter reminds me of the flashback panels Oda has to do for people who don't read it weekly, but did it for the entire chapter. So true, dude. So, speaking of that, in chapter 1066, or 67, one of the two, when we heard about O'Hara, or no, maybe it was a couple chapters after that. Regardless, when we were like learning about Saul and learning, getting a refresher on O'Hara, we already we talked about O'Hara a little bit with Robin, like in Vega or in Shaka and stuff like that. And then like a couple chapters later, there was this random little like half page that was like quick refresher on the O'Hara incident, and I was like, dude, wait, okay, whoa. We just talked about Saul and the books, and then you're given the refresher, and like O'Hara is the kind of thing that, I mean, I'm sure people need refreshers, but I feel like O'Hara is like maybe the one incident in the story that people probably don't need reminded of that much. And I was very confused back then because I was like, dude, we just talked about O'Hara for a whole chapter, now we have a refresher thing. So I mean, I agree. That's kind of how this felt. Like, there was, like, a lot of backdrop to it, right? Like, this gave a lot of intel that we didn't know. But it did sort of summarize the events leading up to this in a way where we could have probably pieced it together on our own, or we generally understood it. And, yeah, he spent the whole chapter just kind of letting us know, like, all right, here's all the stuff I forgot to tell you, or here's all, like, this. So let me just tie it all together for you. Like, I don't know. Like, Oda usually does it as he goes, right? Like, we're usually... I don't know, like, he doesn't usually need to explain things quite like this, so it's very weird. Mr. Bushido with the €5. In Rick and Morty, Rick has a room where he can remove his own memories and stores them, so it's funny that Vegapunk's voice actor voices Rick in Japanese dub. That is hilarious. I didn't even know about that. I haven't watched Rick and Morty in a long time, which, great show, but, that is hilarious, and I love that Vegapunk's voice actor voices Rick in the Japanese dub. Amazing. What a good call. Like, without me knowing anything else, just making this, like, these genius scientists have the same voice, like, love it. So smart. But, now that you bring that up, I wonder, this machine that Vegapunk's hooked up to, I wonder if, like, those memories are stored somewhere. Like, this is probably tied to hooking up to Punk Records, like how they put their info into the brain. This is probably, like, a similar thing, but I wonder, I don't know, it's interesting that we didn't really see this till now, I guess, or not, didn't see it in action, I guess. 3-Day, thank you for shouting out the Twitch channel. I just saw you. I'm sure you put a lot of links in the chat, and I'm probably like 30 minutes behind, so you probably don't even remember it at this point, but thank you very much. And Vex, I'm sure Vex has been linking things too. John Stoops for $5. Do you feel this exonerates Sanji for letting Vegapunk die? I mean, I'm not sure if he ever really needed exonerated. At least in my mind. Maybe, I don't know if the fandom was saying that. But like Vegapunk knowing that he was gonna die or whatever, it's interesting because it's not Sanji's fault that Vegapunk died, right? Like, it's not like he wanted it to happen or he even like really failed. I mean, he did because Vegapunk got hurt, I guess, but given the amount of threats that he had in front of him, it's not like anyone else would have done a whole lot better. Maybe Luffy, but Luffy was trying to help him by holding off whoever else. I can't remember the exact situation. I mean, I know Kizaru landed the killing blow, but I feel like he doesn't really need exonerated, but at the same time, I do think it makes it easier for me to believe that Vegapunk is actually dead. I guess I'll put it that way, because the way that he died was like in like a side panel, and like that is just not how One Piece characters die ever. Like, characters just don't die in general, let alone a tiny little side panel like that. So I always felt weird, but like knowing this backdrop, it makes it a little bit easier to believe that he would be dead. Until Punk Records is gone, though, I'm still not convinced, because I feel like his brain could just... He's still thinking, right? Like, that's like the logic. Like, when I die, my brain's gonna turn off, right? Like, you're not gonna be able to go grab my brain and plug in later on and hear or listen to my memories, So I don't know. I want to learn more about Punk Records, because I feel like that's a massive mystery right now. Straw Hat Koofy. The vague nerve connects the brain and the stomach, or vagus. I don't know how. I'm just gonna try. I'm probably gonna butcher it. The vagus nerve connects the brain and stomach. Brain Vegapunk controlling greed Vegapunk still in the cards. Ooh, that's interesting. If Punk Records is still around, and all the satellites are Vegapunks, and they can all connect to the brain. And I mean, just generally speaking, the brain's, what gives you kind of commands to do things. Like, the Punk Records, like, his brain is gonna be a plot device going forward, you know what I mean? Like, is it gonna be as simple as the government gets it? I still like Blackbeard getting it. I don't know, man. That's like one of the biggest mysteries right now. Chef, you said, just because I was curious about this with the meal prep, you said, yep, when rolling hundreds of dumplings and making sauces. Dude, I don't know if you guys have seen that video where there's like that, like, you can get it off like Temu or something, but it's like a little contraption that helps you make dumplings, but it sucks and it never actually closes the dumpling properly, if you guys know what I'm talking about. I've seen a million TikToks on it. It's been on Good Mythical Morning before. I hope you don't use that thing, because that thing seems like it doesn't work. Hopefully you have a better one. Or if you're doing it by hand, that's even crazier, Chef. So major props to Chef D. Rasta for sure. I'll have to stop by and get some dumplings at some point. Let's see. Just because I saw it, Joe D. List, you said, who said it's 30 seconds? Bonnie transforms whole Marine troops and they're found days later. If you go back even to earlier this arc, she turned Vegapunk into a kid, and in the same sitting, he turned back, and it's not like she deactivated it. Or even if you go back to, like, Saba Odi, we know it's very temporary. She's even said it. Like, Saba Odi, I can't remember the exact scene, but, like, the Marines there aren't kids that long. Like, they only get turned for a little bit. It's very temporary. I don't know if it's 30 seconds. I don't know if we have any timeline on that, but it's definitely, like, very, very quick. Growth Stonks with the $5. I don't think the hole in the ship is a big problem. Maybe Vegapunk burial at Sphinx. Also, my man Kuma made it out of the trenches, which is a massive W. I feel like the hole in the ship has to matter first. Like, it just goes back to something I've been saying during this arc a lot, where, like, Oda can't keep bringing up issues and then just not making them issues. You know what I mean? Like with the Luffy eating thing. Like, to me, that he can't do that forever. He can't just keep giving Luffy food constantly and making the whole, running out of gear 5th energy thing pointless. Like, like with this hole in the ship, that, like, we're leaving the island with a hole in the pretty much the bottom of our ship. It's like the side, but you see it here. Like, the water's very close to it. It's like that should matter. But going to your point, Vegapunk burial at Sphinx makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know where else you would really put him. Like, EGGHEAD would probably be the place that makes the most sense, or Karakuri, but, they aren't going all the way to Karakuri. Sphinx is pretty dang close to EGGHEAD. Whitebeard and Ace are already there, which, like, no, they don't have a great connection or anything, but important people are there. Sphinx is a pretty peaceful place. Vegapunk was a pacifist. I don't know. At the end of the day, we have, oh, I forgot his name for a second. Pedro. I'm so sorry, Pedro. I love you. We have Pedro's grave on Wano, and that makes no sense. Pedro was never even there. Carrot was going back to Zoe and could have put the headstone there. It's not like they have Pedro's body. Pedro, there may not even be a body for Pedro, but they still put his grave on Wano for some reason. So, Vegapunk burial at Sphinx sounds good to me. He could also just get buried at Elbath. That would also make sense to me. Because the Ohara stuff. And then you also said, my man Kuma made it out of the trenches, which is a massive W. For me, I love Kuma, don't get me wrong, but Kuma should have died this arc, is definitely my take. Kuma, I got nothing but love for you, but the impact of your death would be way harder during EGGHEAD than any other point. Like, now, because if Kuma does end up dying, which, like, if he doesn't, like, he's like a vegetable right now. Like, it's an awkward thing already, but if Vegapunk, or if Kuma never dies, I just feel like it's awkward a little bit, because, like, Well, like if he dies later, that's super awkward because this would have been the time. Like this was his daughter was a central character in this arc. He showed up finally and like is defying like the laws of physics and all that stuff. This is a island that like it's a lab. We already had labs explode. Like there's so many things there that would have made sense. So it's just like later, like when is going to be another good time for this to happen, right? But now if Kuma never dies, I mean that would maybe be all right. But I just feel like how are we gonna make him hit more? You know what I'm saying? Like what would be the point? Like the character reason for keeping him here? Like sure, him and Bonnie can go to the Sky Islands, but like, are we even gonna see that? You know what I mean? Like that seems like something they're just gonna go off and do, and like isn't like a major story role. It's like what is the point? And could Oda think of something? Sure. I just feel like right now him dying would be, well, now at this point I don't know how it would work, but normally him dying like in Egghead would be the hardest hitting thing for me. Like that would have been a top tier moment, maybe in the story. Like it's that strong of a moment. So happy to see him alive. Like that's cool. I'm worried now for what's going to happen. I would rather he die and it be impactful than him just do nothing, I guess is what I'm saying. Lord Vegeta, my guy, Ragnar, with the $20. Thank you very much for your generosity. Personally, 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the chapter, answered some unanswered questions, confirmed some theories. Few people predicted this. Vegapunk pulled a full-on Yagami light with that memory stuff, and I think it all makes sense. That's it. I mean, I haven't really read a lot of the other comments, but I feel like all the super chats I've been reading are pretty negative on this chapter, so I'm kind of glad that someone is positive. Now, I don't really know who Yagami Light is. I just Googled it because you're like the third person who's brought that up. And it seems like that's someone from Death Note, which I have not seen. And I'm sure some of you are going to tell me to go watch it. And maybe I should. I have no negative opinions on it. I just haven't watched it. So I don't know what that means exactly. But, I mean, you're right that there were some unanswered questions. Like, a lot of the stuff in here I feel like we needed. Like I don't think we could have really left Elbaf. I don't think we could have left Egghead without getting some of these, or else it would just seem weird. And piggybacking off that, we still need to find out what happened over the night. Like I'm never gonna let that go. Like we were in dire straits before the night happened, right? Like we had like Vegapunk was kind of dead to rights. He was like locked in that thing, and York killed Shaka. Robin was on her way to the basement. There were Seraphim on the loose. Like there were so many crazy things going on. I think Lucci was doing some scummy stuff. I can't remember exactly. So we need that too. And so like I'm happy that Oda answered a lot of the questions here, like a lot of the backdrop, but there's still so many major ones that aren't answered that I'm just kind of like, are we gonna just stick around and keep having flashbacks about the stuff that Oda skipped, or I just don't even know what's really gonna happen here. So but I'm glad you liked it though, man. I'm very curious to hear kind of what the consensus is, because like I said, I've only seen a few super chats so far. Let me find some. Oh wait, was that the last? No, that wasn't. Wait, no, definitely not the last one. Okay, real quick, just because I saw it and I can't believe I missed it. 3-day trip with the 5 gifted memberships. 3-day, seriously one of the all-time goats of the channel. Not even just the channel, but several channels in the community in general. That's why you see 3-day with the wrench everywhere you go. I've joked around that the 3-day awakened the magnet fruit even before Kid did, because 3-day just has so many wrenches. So 3-day, thank you. Welcome Barnacle Boy 127. Barnacle Boy, I was just watching a SpongeBob episode with you in it the other day. F, Ace, Saitom, and Trekoka. Thank you, or well, welcome, I guess I should say. I mean, thank you for tuning in, because that's how you got the membership. But thank you, 3-day, for being so generous. And also, I do want to give a quick little announcement. I brought this up in my last stream, but I just want to mention it again. And 3-day, hopefully you have the shout out ready. Hopefully 3-day can plug the link. You know what's coming. So you guys should definitely go check out a new channel. So if you guys have heard of the Last Arc before, which they've been on this channel, and I've been on their channel, you probably heard of them before. Basically, that group has moved to a new channel, essentially, is what's happening, called the Eternal Dawn, and you guys should totally go check those out. Great group of people, same group of people as before if you're familiar with them, but you should definitely go check out their channel. It's a group of people. They have a lot of content in play. I'm an unofficial board member. At least that's how that's what I'm calling myself. I don't even know if that, like I said, unofficial. Where I was giving them some good content ideas, and I'm just telling you guys they have a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe. 3Day finally just linked it. Thank you, 3Day. I was waiting. I knew you were gonna do it, but y'all should definitely go check out their channel. I'm sure I'll be over there soon. But they have a lot of stuff coming that you guys are gonna like. They're revamping things quite a bit, so go check them out for sure. Thank you, 3Day. And no, guys, 3Day did not. 3Day and I did not have an agreement where she gets a shout out for the memberships. I was gonna shout it out anyway. She's just too generous and did it before I got to it. But thank you. I also want to match your memberships with 5 more gifted memberships from YouTube. Oh yeah, and Vex is also part of the Eternal Dawn. Y'all know Vex because he's here every single stream, I feel like. And also YouTube just gave you guys some free memberships also, so there you go. Very cool. All right, I'm gonna go back up to the couple super chats I think I missed. I saw Lord Vegeta's. Okay, here we go. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici. I just love saying the full name. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it sounds great. Prediction, next chapter, Saturn and Emeth will have a final talk about Joy Boy and Luffy. Saturn will destroy Emeth, who will die with happy eyes. All about that, dude. 100, sign me up. Co-signed. My name's on the dotted line. All about that. They have a little conversation like, maybe Saturn's even like, who was Joy Boy to you? And then Emeth is like, my captain. And then he gets killed. Like, something like that would hit so hard to be ridiculous. Because then we also have to think, if that did happen, if Emeth did die and like died while being happy about talking about his history with Joy Boy, all that stuff, you gotta think, like, Emeth's been around for 900 years. This dude's been waiting for this moment, and to see him die would be crazy. Like, that's, imagine Luffy dying, and Frankie were to stick around for 900 years to make sure that he can see the next version of Luffy succeed and right all the wrongs. And then we saw Frankie finally die after he got to meet him. Like, we'd all be crying, right? And it's just like that would hit so hard. So I'm all about that, seriously. And then Kush Daddy, member for 7 months. Doobie Brothers, what a fool believes. Thank me later. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get it ready. Hold on. The Doobie Brothers. That's what me and my friends called ourselves when we, it's when we enjoy the plants that recently became legalized where I live. Oh, thank you again, 3Day. I just scrolled past the memberships again, so I'm just gonna say it again. Dreams never die. 95, they do not ever die. You are correct. Thoughts on what Emu's Devil Fruit could be, and Blackbeard stealing it in the final arc and completing his Devil Fruit Trinity, and the story refocusing on him being the primary threat in Luffy final challenge. Love this question. Absolutely love this question. I know it's not even it's not even related to the chapter. Maybe that's why I'm excited, because this chapter was so confusing. But I love this question regardless. As far as Emu's Devil Fruit, I am not a big proponent for Emu having a Devil Fruit, personally. I think Emu has, like we saw with the Gorosei, they don't seem to have fruits. Like, it's not 100% confirmed, but I'm still a pretty big believer in, like I thought they didn't have fruits to begin with, because they were never said to have fruits, and they just are kind of weird. Like, the summoning circles are weird, but also because Jupiter had the sea stone bubbles in him, that kind of makes it feel like he doesn't have a fruit, because if you touch those bubbles, you're cooked. Because, and I had this discussion in the Discord, and just to clarify, just for anyone, like, sea stone bubbles and sea stone, like, nails, like we saw in Wano, like, if you touch them at all, you can't use your powers, versus, like, water, where if you're in the water, you're powerless, like, you can't move, but, like, your powers are still, like, active, quote unquote. Like if you fall, like, whenever Luffy goes in the water, he's still rubber, like, his powers don't get deleted. But that would happen if he had, like, sea stone or whatever, right? Like, he would not be able to stretch or whatever. Like, I mean, I guess we haven't really seen. Yeah, I don't think he. Whatever. Well, the only reason why I bring that up is, like, we go back to Wano, Wano. Law got touched with a sea stone nail and could not use room anymore. He tried and was not, like, it got canceled the second he touched it. Like, he was not allowed to use his powers at all. And so, tying back here with Jupiter, he touched those sea stone bubbles, I would presume, because they're in his stomach. If he touches it at all, like even a tiny bit, his powers shut off. That's how it's supposed to work. Like, it's not like he just gets tired or he's too big, because like with water, you have to be submerged to a certain point. So a lot of people think like, oh, maybe, you know, he's really big, so it doesn't work or whatever. It's like, if it touches him even the tiniest bit, the power shut off. That's how it's supposed to work. So I feel like they don't have fruits. And so tying it back to Emu, tying it back to your question, sorry that took so long. I don't think Emu has a fruit either. It's just, if the Gorosei don't, I think it would make sense that Emu doesn't. They might all be born from the same thing. And I wouldn't be shocked if like Emu either gave the Gorosei their powers or even reverse. Like the Gorosei had those powers, found Emu and were like, hey, we have this crazy power that we can like let you tap into, but you gotta like work for us or whatever. Something like that. And so the reason I explain all that is because your other question's kind of built on that a little bit with like Blackbeard stealing it and then completing his Devil Fruit Trinity. So even though everything I just said that Emu doesn't have a fruit, I still think that whatever Emu's powers are, these like demonic, underworld-esque powers, whatever, you know, people love saying the Sea Devil stuff. Not that I'm not too big into that, but at least thematically it would make sense because like Luffy's the sun god. Not that he has sun powers, he's just like the liberator. It's very metaphorical. Emu being the Sea Devil in a metaphorical way makes sense to me, where maybe Emu is the bad guy who rules the oceans. That's like enough. Like, not that Emu has water powers. So, long story short, what I think could happen is that Blackbeard could get either taken over or so basically, if Emu is like a human who has some kind of demonic abilities, which like it seems like the Gorosei are, we don't really know for sure, but it seems kind of like they're people with these weird summoning circle based devil form things. If Emu is similar to that, I could see Blackbeard stealing that for himself. Not that it would be a fruit, but just that power in general. Maybe like absorbing whatever makes Emu so special, and then taking that and then becoming the final villain. I do think that's very possible. In my next video that I'm dropping tomorrow, it's about Kobe actually, but I do talk about, and I don't want to spoil it, but I do talk about how, you know, Garp and Roger teamed up at God Valley, which was a climactic event. They fought Rocks, and Blackbeard is like the current Rocks, right? Or like he carries his will at least. And basically, you know, how do I put this? So Garp and Roger teamed up against the past Blackbeard, you could say. So maybe Luffy and Kobe team up against the current Blackbeard. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a 2v1. We're going to have the Luffy versus Blackbeard 1v1, no doubt. But I bring up in that video a few ways on how that could happen. And a little bit like what you're talking about is sort of tied into the video where I say, like, you know, Blackbeard's got some crazy plans, right? Like, he's not done amassing power in different ways, either for himself through different fruits, or maybe like, well, it's crew through fruits also, but even an army, and maybe even something really crazy like I brought this up before. Maybe, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the reassemble Joy Boy theory, where basically maybe the poneglyphs were once a person, and maybe Blackbeard's gonna like reassemble them into like whoever that person was and put a shadow and control them. I know it sounds crazy if you've never heard of it, but something like that. Or another idea I bring up, well, actually, I don't want to spoil that, but ending point is just that I think there's going to be, Blackbeard is going to have a lot of chances to become the final villain by the end in a variety of ways. And I think whenever we get to the end, Kobe and Luffy might team up, where Luffy is fighting Blackbeard directly, and maybe Kobe is fending off some of these power-ups that Blackbeard is getting, and maybe stealing the power from Emu could be part of that. Like, imagine if Blackbeard somehow is able to like control Emu, or, you know, I'm of the belief that Emu does have like another entity, like Emu is a person controlled by a devil or like a demon or some kind of dark magic. I don't really know what exactly, but I do think there's like two components, and I could see Blackbeard gaining control of like the evil demonic component of Emu, and maybe that, you know, is who Kobe ends up fighting or something like that. Because we also, remember, we had that panel in 1121 where it says, like, whoever gets the One Piece will decide the fate of the world, and Kobe and Emu are next to each other and also mirrored from each other, which is interesting. And so, all of that is to say that I fully agree with you that, well, I guess you're asking me, but I think this is what you think, that Blackbeard is going to become the primary threat by the end. I do agree. Because going back, because I think the one issue with that is that Emu, nobody wants to see Emu get dumbed down to like nothing, right? Like Blackbeard being the final villain can work, but it's got to work in a way to where Emu's story is still meaningful and Emu's a threat. I mean, Emu's ran the world for this long. Like, we can't have Emu just get cooked and then it's just over, right? Like Emu's got to stick around. So, at least stick around till very close to the end. So basically, it's got to be done in a very particular way. But I do think Blackbeard being the top at the end just makes just astronomical sense. So I'm with you for sure. Dilcor, Kobe Vid is a banger, can confirm. Hey, thank you. Dilcor's editor on the channel. If you're wondering why the videos look better than they used to, that's why. Thank you, Dylan. I'm sorry I have not answered you on Discord yet. I can do the final 3 minutes if you need me to, but I'm also curious if I have to do the music also, because that'll. I mean, I can do it if I need to, but I'm just curious. Chef D Rasta with the $5 super chat. It's your 5th super chat ever on a live stream. I am honored. Also, Chef, I did see earlier, I just forgot to say something. I saw earlier where you said that you hand roll the dumplings. That's amazing. Good call. Did the Sea Prism bubble protect S-Snake from Joy Boy's Hockey Blast, or did it just not target her? That's interesting. That's interesting. I guess it just didn't target her. But now, I don't know if this is what you were implying, Chef, but we know that S-Snake kind of like cared for Luffy just like the real Boa did, right? Like the lineage factor carried it forward. And so, is that a hint that the past Boa was friends with Joy Boy and the lineage factor has carried through all the years to the current Boa and S-Snake? And so Joy Boy's Hockey was able to avoid hurting S-Snake because it's like the same voice or lineage factor as his old friend. You know what I'm saying? That's actually really interesting. Because if it was going to be anyone where that kind of idea would happen, it would be S-Snake, because we already have it set up. Boa and Luffy, like Boa fell in love with Luffy, which that's such a strong thing. So the past Boa being friends with the past Joy Boy, I mean, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. Like, Chef, I don't even know if that's what you were getting at, but that, I feel like that's it. Because we even saw them say, like, the hockey didn't seem threatening to, like, the good people, right? Like, the Giants were saying that. And so I just, you know, we know that you can direct hockey at who you want. Like, you're trying to hurt a certain person or, like, a certain group and not others. Like, we know that. But obviously, like, Joy Boy wasn't here. Like, he pre-ordered this, right? And so I feel like, you know, the voice or the lineage factor or whatever coming into play here would make a lot of sense. So actually, I hope that's it. I really like that a lot. Ace, you did get a membership. Yes, sir. Or ma'am, but probably sir. Joe D. List, you said it's targeted Emeth's enemies. Well, S-Snake is a enemy of Emeth, right? Like, S-Snake they were actively ordered to attack us, so. Chef, oh yeah, I like that. My mind didn't even go there. Yeah, man, I really like that. Because we also have, like, the Will of D as an example where, like, you know, like, the reason they do an initial is because it carries through the years, right? Like, through lineage. Like, if you have a D, I mean, I guess you could get adopted into it, like we know with Sabo with the Sa Debo or Sad Boy thing. We know that you can, like, adopt the D later if you want to, but generally speaking, like, if you have the D, it's because you're related to a long line of Ds. And so I feel like this was almost like a litmus test for that, like, you know, like with the hockey thing, like, without, you know, it's like, not that everyone who didn't get hurt had a D in it, but it's just a very similar thing where, like, he can tell who's a good person by will, voice, whatever it is. Very interesting. Lucky Beetle. I think I got through all the super chats, by the way. If I missed some, please yell at me. I think I got through them all. Thank you, Anna Lily 1 for following on Twitch. Thank you very much. Lucky Beetle, you said, what do you think of JJK and My Hero ending? So I'm not into My Hero at all, so I don't know much about it. I just had people give me some non-spoilery thoughts about the ending. Maybe I should read it so I know. About JJK, I got too many thoughts for one stream about how things are going over there, to be honest with you. Is the new chapter out for that? I'm very curious what's going on. It is not out yet. But I guess in regards to, and I don't know if you wanted my thoughts on the endings themselves or just generally for like the community's sake. What do I think about them ending? But I'll answer it that way anyway. I think it's really crazy that My Hero and JJK are ending now, and we still have One Piece going. Obviously, as a One Piece fan, I'm excited, but I guess as a like business-minded guy, I don't even like calling myself that, but I guess I am. I am a little like worried for like the future of Shonen Jump, to be honest with you. I feel like there's so much changing in regards to how people consume content that once One Piece is gone, which carries a lot of Shonen Jump sales, that's I joke about this all the time, but that's why anytime there's a cool Shonen or like Luffy is on the cover of Shonen Jump more often than anyone else, and it's not just because people like Luffy, it's because they need to sell the dang thing, and people want to buy it for One Piece more than anything. And so by having My Hero ending and JJK ending, which is not over yet, but we're getting very close, like having them end around the same time, and honestly have One Piece in the final saga, which, you know, is going to help drive sales for now, but it is going to end soon. It does scare me a little bit. You know, I'm not like super big into manga in general. Like I'm mainly a One Piece guy, but I mean, I've seen a lot of anime, and I'm not saying anime is ever going to go away, but even with like the advent of like streaming services and you know, just other ways to consume content, like a lot of us just watch YouTube most of the time probably. It's just, you know, everything's changing in the world, and also with like the use of AI, I just, you know, I guess what I'm saying is, once One Piece is over, I'm not really sure if Shonen Jump's going to continue to exist in the same way, and I'm getting a little worried about it. You know, that they will exist. It's just, I mean, like the three biggest story, like two of the biggest, and the two of the biggest are one ended, one's about to end, and then One Piece, the biggest, is semi close to ending. And I just, you know, you're not going to have a lead like you do with One Piece, for a while. You know, stories like One Piece don't come around that often, I suppose. So I'm just a little worried, honestly. You know, I both for the stories themselves, because we all love reading these, but also for like the authors and stuff, because they're, you know, without the print version getting as many sales, the money behind it all changes drastically, and I don't know what that does downstream for everyone else. Because, like, if you're not selling the Shonen Jump and you're only, you know, maybe doing digital version online, which I think some publishers do that, it's just, you know, that it completely changes the dynamics of the business, and, you know, who's making money doing their roles. And I don't know, it's just a we're in interesting times in a lot of ways, guys. We're living through some interesting times for sure, both in terms of manga and in the world, but we won't talk about that too much this stream. That's for the Discord. Alexander Fiorello, another one of the names I just love saying here on YouTube. Here every week for the chapter. Much love, bro. Alexander, thank you as always for sliding in. This is your 5th super ever, and I feel like I see you almost every week, so I'm surprised that this is only 5, to be honest. But thank you either way. I'm very honored. I saw another one. Dreams Never Die 95. No, they don't. $10 super chat. Thanks for your feedback, Dak. I feel like it's a Blackbeard character to steal the show last second. Also, who do you believe will have final custody of the Seraphim at the end of One Piece? Thanks again. Well, first off, you're more than welcome. Thank you for super chatting and asking super engaging questions. I mean, most of you guys do, but, you know, like I said, this one's like a non-chapter one, so I was kind of excited because it's semi-random. But who do I believe will have final custody of the Seraphim? If you're talking the very, very end of the story, like you're talking like when it's all said and done, I think the Seraphim will be freed. I think they're going to have their authority chips removed and like be allowed to be people, you know, and have their own freedom and autonomy. That's what I want to see at the end. Because because they do have autonomy, like we saw with Boa. Like she has, desire, or S-Snake technically. She has desires, right? Like she wants to act in her own way, like in her own sense of justice or her own will, whatever, verbiage you want to use. But she can't because of the authority chip and how she's made. So I do want to see them freed by the end. But with that being said, maybe if I was to read your question a little bit differently, you might be asking, like, who's going to get the custody of the Seraphim next, or who's going to be using the Seraphim going forward to their advantage. And I'm still big on Blackbeard. I don't think Blackbeard needs to get all of them, but I brought this up a million times, so sorry if I'm like retreading here for anybody. But Blackbeard went after Boa's fruit, didn't get it, but conveniently there's a Seraphim that has Boa's fruit also, so he can just get her and still have the powers at his disposal, right? He tried to go get Moria and tried to force him to join, and Moria didn't, and he presumably escaped. We didn't actually see it, but presumably. And guess what? There's S-Bat or S-Gecko, whatever his name is, that's probably going to have the shadow powers. So, like, Oda, in my mind, introduced the Seraphim as a way for Blackbeard to get the fruits he needs without killing the people who have the fruits, because Oda never wants to kill anybody. So I just think, regardless of everything else, that to me is still carries the most weight of anything. Like, it's just too perfect for Blackbeard, like a plug and play for him to just, somehow get the Seraphim at his disposal and do everything he wanted to do without killing the people. So now we can get the combo of Blackbeard doing crazy stuff and all the characters' reactions. Like, to me, it just makes the most sense. But it hasn't happened yet, and I felt like this arc, like, it would have happened by this moment, right? Like, you would think by the end of Egghead that, because we already had Blackbeard pirates here, and now we saw Augur on a ship, so they did escape. They are leaving the island, so they're not here anymore. Maybe Lafitte's still around. That's possible, I suppose. But now I don't really know how it's going to work. Because remember, the Blackbeard even met the Seraphim, right? He met S-Hawk and even said, like, oh, PX, like dark skin, light hair, fire on the back. Like, he immediately recognized that it's like a pacifista with Lunarian elements to it, and that it looks like Mihawk. Like, he immediately put it all together, what the thing was that he was fighting. So I feel like it just lines up for him to, pursue that and want those on his side and to back him up. But like I said, it didn't happen yet, and I don't know when next. Now, with that being said, I do think that some of the Seraphim have to stay with the government, because, and I'm curious what you guys think about this, because this is actually a thing I'm going to be talking about on Redacted shortly with Sai. I'm recording that tonight. But, like, the Marines are kind of mid now. All right, I'm gonna just say it. I'm not gonna hold back. The Marines and even the Gorosei a little bit are kind of mid. I'm gonna be honest. We need to get our stocks up on the Marine side pronto, because I don't feel, if the Marines were to pull up on Luffy and the Grand Fleet, or Luffy and other strong pirates, or whatever, I wouldn't even feel threatened anymore. I'll be honest. Like, the Gorosei, are they threatening? Sure. Like, they are. I mean, I say sure kind of, I don't know, condescendingly. I mean, yeah, they are, because they can regenerate. We still haven't figured out how to beat them, whatever. But Joy Boy's hockey just sent them all back to the Holy Land and all that stuff. So now I'm just like, okay, so once Luffy gets good enough hockey, he's probably going to be all right. So I'm just not worried about them that much. He put Kizaru down twice in this arc, and I mean, I honestly think Kizaru partially was, like, he never got knocked out, so I think he kind of, like, was baiting for that to happen. Like, I don't think he actually wanted to fight all out. But regardless, the Marines really got to figure their stuff out. And so they need the Seraphim at this point. Oh, by God, do they need the Seraphim. It's bad. John Sherrod, boo take. Well, dude, John Sherrod, JJ, why am I calling you John? I know it's your name, but I always call you JJ. JJ. The guy at the top of the guy that people presume to be at the top of the Gorosei, they're not correct. A topman was disappointing. If the top man couldn't deliver, who's gonna do it? Even Imu couldn't kill Sabo. Sabo was there with all 5 Gorosei, including Topman and Imu, and he got away. If they can't take out Sabo 6v1? All because freaking Cobra got in the way. He set the screen. He took the charge. I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried about the Marines. I'm going to be real. Akainu better Akainu is going to be carrying so hard in the future. Like, that man, top man was undefeated on Egghead. I saw him down on one knee because a rope got untied, my friend. A rope. All right. Topman better not be around next time I untie my shoes, or he's cooked. You know what I mean? Winston, you said Devin could control the Seraphim as well. Maybe Blackbeard's next play is stealing the Seraphim. That's a good call. I should have brought that up. So very, 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 very good call. Since Devin can turn into Saturn, now we have set the stage where Devin could command the Seraphim, presumably. Like, we don't... Maybe the Seraphim can tell it's not the real one. I doubt it. But so that's a good call. I should have definitely said that. And Dreams Never Die with the $5. I should have read this too. That's very valid since Katarina Devin can transform into Saturn now. I can definitely see that. Thanks again. You guys are all over it. I don't even need to say it. Y'all got it. And I will throw in a little caveat there, because I do think that's going to happen. But there's two layers to it. One, I'm not sure if Blackbeard wants only one of the Blackbeard pirates to be commanding the Seraphim, right? Because they always split up, as we've seen. And yes, they could just decide to start sticking together, but like, I'm sure Blackbeard would like to control the Seraphim also. Now, could Devin just tell the Seraphim, hey, listen to my friends also? Yeah, and that's totally a possibility, but just with the way Blackbeard's mind works, I feel like he would want to be at the top, so I wonder if there's like something that he's going to try doing so he has the ultimate control. I'm not really sure. Like, the easiest way to do that would be modifying the authority chips, which York could probably do, or make new ones, or just make new Seraphim in general. That's one call out, though. Like, I just... Like, if Devin is far away and he needs to give an order, I'm sure they want to have a mechanism, so that's something else. But another layer to that, with Katarina turning into Saturn, is, you know, Saturn is still at Egghead. And if the island blows up, if Emeth blows up, if... I don't even know what else could happen. If Kuma comes back and gets more revenge. If Saturn is missing for a while, or dies, or something like that, then, I mean, imagine Katarina, like, walking into the Holy Land and being like, hey, guys, sorry I'm late, I'm back. And then, so that's Katarina Devin's, you know, role. Because if Katarina does that, then there is no commanding the Seraphim for the Blackbeard Pirates, like I was saying, right? Like, that would sort of eliminate that, because Katarina would be preoccupied. But regardless, whatever Katarina's up to, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to put it that way. Actually, and I guess I want to mention this again, because I know some people got memberships, but I mentioned at the beginning how I have a poll, or like a Google form that you can go see. It's a members only community post, so if you're a member, you can go to my community tab and find it, where you can rank video ideas that I'm trying to do, and I just want to gauge your guys' interest level in some of them and get some ideas and stuff like that. And one of those videos, which isn't doing that well in the rankings right now, but that's okay, is Yamato versus Katarina Devin as a Blackbeard matchup for the end, which I still fully believe in. If you guys have heard me talk about it before, it actually does make a lot of sense. It sounds like so random at first, and like there's no reason for it, but the reason I bring that up is just with Katarina Devin's role right now as being Saturn. I don't even know. I can't even wrap my head around how that would play into her eventual Straw Hat matchup. Because one major thing is that, you know, the Blackbeard crew has Blackbeard plus 10 members, but the Straw Hats only have Luffy plus 9 members, so there has to be one more, so that's why Yamato, I think, is going to be in it. But in regards to this Katarina stuff, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, like, Katarina can probably turn into a bunch of different people, kind of like Bon Clay did, and I'm just wondering, like, I wonder who else Katarina's going to get that might help with this Gorosei mission, that maybe will come into play in the Blackbeard fights. I don't know who else Katarina could get for any other reason. Like honestly, if you think, so Katarina touched Saturn while Saturn was in his, like, spider form, Gyuki form, I guess, and I'm always kind of curious, like, you know, becoming Saturn himself, the human, is helpful in certain ways, but becoming Saturn the spider is also useful in certain ways, right? Like, that would be really powerful to tap into if you could. I don't know how that works, but I just bring that all up just to say that Katarina is one of the biggest wild cards going forward. Like, Katarina has limitless potential, maybe even seriously. Um, JJ cracking me up. Set the screen is hilarious. I'm glad you like that, JJ. That's one of my favorite. I think I said that in a video, and I've just been saying it ever since. Because that literally Cobra just is like Sabo go, and he just like stood in the way. It's like hilarious. I love Cobra and everything, but like, I mean, he's not defensive player of the year. You know what? He's just not. And what else did you say? The shoestring line makes me want to quit my agenda. Oh man, hey, I'm waiting. Laboon's existence should make you want to quit the agenda, JJ. That's all you need. Why do you guys place Laboon and Warkery as fundamentally opposed? Remind me. JJ, because Dak is a hater. That is the real reason. If I was to be completely honest about the reason, that's it right there, is because I am a hater of Topman. And JJ jokingly, I love JJ, but because he likes Topman, he gets he gets some smack talk. Laboon can't even talk. Did you guys hear that? Okay, yeah. I didn't know if it was playing or not, but Laboon, oh, I don't have the baby noise on here. The baby noise is even better. Well, I should have put it on there. But hey, Laboon talks. He just doesn't speak our language, but he talks. He can understand human speech, though. Let's keep it real, all right? Laboon is amazing. Brooke sees Laboon. They both cry. Sad music. That's it. Bad rap sample. The only thing that you forgot there is Brooke sees Laboon. They both cry. We cry. Sad music. That's it. You got to include that in there because we are definitely crying when that happens. I know I will be. I will unapologetically shed. I will reflood the world again when that happens because my tears will be just rivers. Kush Daddy, if Luffy didn't eat the Nika fruit, it's still not the Gum Gum. We'll see about that. What would you have wanted his devil fruit to be? That's a good question, man. You know, it's really funny because I feel like, you know, the first time I ever watched One Piece, I was real young, like it was on 4Kids, and I don't really remember a lot from it, but I do remember, like, thinking it was kind of uncool that he had rubber powers. I was like, that's so basic. Like, I could have thought of cooler powers in 2 seconds. Like, why is the main character of the show like rubber powers? Like, that's not cool. He's just gonna stretch and punch people all the time. Like, I'm not even excited. So if you would have asked me that when I was a kid, I would have had a million answers for you. I would have probably said, you know, fire, lightning, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would have said a lot of stuff like that. But now that, you know, I've experienced One Piece, I'm a creator, I'm a bit older, and I understand a lot of the thematic elements to why he's rubber and what it really means in terms of freedom, like stretching and all that. I honestly wouldn't want anything else. Straight up. I think one of Oda's best decisions he's ever made, period, regarding One Piece, ever, like of any of his decisions, is making Luffy's powers rubber. Honestly, like that, it brings a lovable simplicity to the story, but also by making these simple powers be so much more powerful than they should be, it gives a lesson that, you know, it's all about how resourceful you are with what you have. It's all about how your personality works with the tools you have and all that kind of stuff. And genuinely, I don't, like, I know the question is, if it wasn't that, what would you want it to be? So I shouldn't say this, but I genuinely don't think I would want it to be anything else. Seriously. I don't even know if I would like One Piece as much as I do. I would still like it, but I don't know if I don't even know if I'd be here today if it wasn't rubber, because that matters to me so much. It's how it makes the story what it is, you know. And then Lol Sauce McGee, my guy, thank you for sliding in with the $10 super chat. Afro Laboon gang. Yes, sir. That's the gang. Laboon, that's all Laboon wants. He doesn't really know it, I don't think. Like, I mean, he knows Brooke has an afro, but he doesn't know that Brooke's keeping the afro for him or whatever. But that's all we're waiting for, is Laboon to see the afro. All right, the combo of the two. That is the moment. And, you know, the One Piece itself might even be an afro inside of another whale. You know, that's That's the agenda I'm sticking with. So look, the Afro whale agenda is beyond strong. John Sherrod, Laboon doesn't even have an afro because he's waiting for the guy with the afro to return. JJ, that okay? Like he's not going to put it on, but he if he already had it, that we wouldn't even have this moment coming because that would mean Brooks there, right? He's not going to wear the afro. It just needs to be in his presence, right? That's the Laboon afro agenda. Joe D List, I saw you said you're heading out. Appreciate you for sliding in and asking some good questions and rebuttals. Appreciate you. Dreams Never Die Again. And thank you so much, bro. That's like your third one, I think. Thank you. I don't believe Yamato matchup is random. I feel that matchup will result in Yamato becoming her own person and not Odin while facing someone that can become literally anyone. Plus, both have a dog fruit. Oh, Dreams, I never even thought about the dog fruit angle. That's actually... that's great. Not that that's like... I would never use that as like my first reason for this, but as like a supplementary reason, I love it. So I'm so glad you brought that up. That they both have mythical dog fruits. That's like, it makes so much sense. Okay, that's great. But if you want to know my reasoning, which I have said this before, so again, sorry if I'm bothering anyone for saying it for like the 10th time, I think, but you know, Katarina Devon hunts the faces of pretty women, and Yamato, obviously there's, you know, the Yamato, you know, being a man or being Odin thing is a bit of a topic, and that's why Katarina Devon makes so much sense, and we'll talk about that. But you know, Yamato is like a pretty woman, right? And so that fits right away with Katarina. But like, Yamato wants to be Odin. So if Katarina's like, oh, you're such a pretty woman, I want your face in my collection or whatever, and then Yamato will be like, no, I'm Kaido's son because I'm into Odin. And so then it's a funny thing where Yamato actually has to beat Odin. Also, Katarina Devon is the Crescent Moon Hunter, and Wano, all the Alliance members had the Crescent Moon on their ankle, and the Kazuki is like, is it Frost Moon? I always get those confused, but all the daimyo names have moon in their name except for the Kurozumi, which is like charcoal, right? Whatever. So there's a lot of like little things with the Katarina fight that makes perfect sense for me. And that's actually one of the matchups I am super confident in. Like the Luffy versus Blackbeard's obvious, Zoro versus Shiryu is obvious, Usopp versus Van Augur is obvious, Chopper versus Doc Q is obvious, but there are some that are really hard to pick and they aren't as obvious. But I almost put Yamato and Katarina in the same tier as the ones I just mentioned because I'm so convinced. Kumasi Supremacy, Laboon has Conqueror's Hockey confirmed. That's actually true. Dilkor, could she turn into Odin without touching him? I think it's what... Okay, yeah. Sorry, my screen messed up. Could she turn into Odin without touching him? So two things there, Dilkor, because I don't really know. We don't know a whole lot about her powers, but if she went to Odin's corpse and or his grave and touched his body, would that let her do it? I genuinely don't know, because she's touching his body, which it would have like his lineage factor in it, right? And I would presume that, I mean, you know, devil fruits are like mystical powers, but I would just guess that's part of it. So maybe you can just go touch Odin and do it, or maybe they can like, you know, Conjuro made a couple fake Odins. Obviously, it was just like paint or whatever. But could you know, a fake Odin be copied in some way? I mean, I guess if you transform into Odin, you're a fake Odin by default, but you know what I mean? Or it could be the awakening of the fruit, and maybe if you awaken Katarina Devon's fruit, because remember, zone awakenings give you a crazy new transformation, right? Yes, you get faster and other stuff, but the hallmark of it is a crazy new transformation. Or startling new transformation. I think that's what Road to Laughtail said. So thinking about a new transformation, well, you know, Katarina Devon has a zone fruit that lets her transform into other things. Maybe that awakened transformation that's really crazy is whatever Katarina wants. What if Katarina can just turn into pretty much anything at that point? That would kind of fit with her fruit. And that's honestly what I think is going to happen, is like anything Katarina can like imagine, or maybe she like sees a photo and she can just turn into something, right? I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, that fruit would be absolutely OP, and it is. It's ready. Example, what the fuck? So glad you brought that up. So yeah, so the first chapter of EGGHEAD was technically chapter 1058 or 59. One of the two, I think. Is it? Well, it's one of the two. Maybe it's 1059. Either way, though, that came out, yeah, almost 2 years ago exactly. Like August 29th, 2022 is when chapter 1058 came out originally, so we were almost 2 years exactly. And so I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know when or if this video is going to get done, but it is on the list that I mentioned that I have the community post for. So it's a video I'm thinking about where I want to give my take for when I think One Piece will end, because I know, I know Morge had one, and I know Grand Line Review had one, and I think they agreed on 2032. But I also want to talk about and give my take on when it's going to end, because I might be the only person who thinks it might take even longer than 2032. And I understand that's like really crazy to a lot of people, because 8 years from now, that's like already insane. But just my subjective take on that is like, I've been creating content for a couple years, following One Piece since like 2017. And I think I and a lot of you guys probably have a good grasp for like the mysteries that we still need to find, the fights that we need to see, the reunions that we need to see, the backstories we need, like all these different things. And I want to do a video where I go through all the things that we need, because I'm sure a lot of people comment that some things aren't important, but that's the beauty of it. But I want to go through and list all the things that I think we need to see and how long it'll take to see all those things, and then add up the chapters, divide by how many chapters a year that Oda's making, and give my answer. Because my ballpark answer, if I that I just was thinking of the other night, which it's not scientific, I was just laying in bed, I think like 2034-ish is what I would estimate. Now, could Oda speed up and change the numbers? Absolutely. Could he maybe find a better way to weave things so he can get things done more efficiently? Absolutely. But tying to what you're saying, bad rap sample, it took 2 years to get done with Egghead, and Egghead was super hype. But think about how much stuff we saw in Egghead and how much stuff we didn't cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, we went to Elbaf and saw the Shanks and Kid thing, went to Hachinosu, saw some of the Reverie stuff, got the Kuma flashback, got a little bit of God Valley, got all this different stuff, and it still took us 2 years, and we still have just astronomical amounts of mysteries to figure out. If anything, the stuff that Oda did in Egghead is going to make it take longer to finish, because, okay, Kid lost to Shanks. If you think Kid is dead, I mean, then don't listen to the rest of this, but Kid is probably going to come back. And so now that Kid lost, okay, well, now Oda has to spend time giving redemption, maybe not arc, but like redemption moment, because arc... I know arc doesn't necessarily mean like arc in the story, but that just makes it seem like it's going to take a while. He needs to give some time for Kid to get back on his feet and figure out, what he's going to do next and what his motive is in the story and role. Law, same thing. Like with the Hachinosu situation, like Oda set that up in chapter 1059, had to show us more in the 1080s to, show us Garp showing up and like the Kuzan fight and all that. But now Garp is still alive over at Hachinosu, and Kobe is still alive. So it's like, okay, now we need to figure out what they're going to do with Garp, which is going to take more time. Kobe obviously is still going to have a lot of things to do in the story. And so the reason I just bring all these examples up is it feels like Oda's almost on a treadmill a little bit, where he just like he just is a treadmill, or maybe like a never-ending walkway, or like, in Mario 64, how if you don't have enough stars and you try to go up the one staircase, the staircase is endless, but then once you get enough stars, then you can go up the staircase, because like it won't be endless anymore. There's also glitches you can do to get past it. That's how I feel Oda is. Like, he's just endlessly going up the stairs, expecting an ending to be there, but he's really just adding more stairs as he goes, so it never ends. So and you also add in Elbaf is going to take... If Elbaf doesn't take at least 2 years, that's ridiculous, because Egghead took 2 years, at least in my mind. It should probably take 3. That's about 100 chapters. That sounds about right for an Elbaf-sized arc. We're already pushing 2027, maybe 2028 by then. The final war, dude, all the stuff, like, the Blackbeard fights alone might take a year's worth of time, because we get a little over 30 chapters a year. There's 11 Blackbeard pirates. You presume there's going to be 2, maybe 3 chapters a fight, and now some fights won't be that long, but some will be longer. Like, And it's not like it'll be 3 straight chapters, but he's going to weave it all in. But basically, it's going to take a long time to flesh out all those big fights that we need. Like, it's going to take at least a couple months of time, few months. Like, minimum few months, probably like a year. You know, there's so many major fights that, like, whenever we go find the One Piece, like, that could be kind of quick, but that's still going to be like a few chapters, like, on the way there, learning about the Void Century, the Joy Boy, like, all that stuff's going to take months. You know, we only get 2 to 3 chapters a month. So for me, how old is Oda? I need to look that up. How old is Oda? He's like 50-ish, right? I don't know. I love how the first picture, whenever I look up Ichiro Oda, is not Oda. So he's age 49. And so this is actually part of what I want to bring up in my video also, is that, so let's say One Piece ended in 10 years. I know that's like, that seems really long for people. Let's say it does. He's going to be 59 at that point. A lot of people retire around that age. Retirement age here in the US is after that. And the reason I bring that up is I'm just like, would Oda want to stop early and go, you know, retire and enjoy his life? I'm sure he's ready for that. But even if he goes 10 more years and retires at 59, he's still like retiring a little early. He had as much time as possible to create like the best story of all time. He won't have any stones left unturned. Like, I don't know Oda personally, but I'm just imagining, like, if you retire before you're 60 and you created the best story of all time, that's great. You know, like, who's going to have a problem with that? He's also taken a year off every year, so I think he has found a happy medium where he doesn't have to burn himself out and feel like he's not doing great. Like, he can, you know, if he has a health problem, he's like, he did that for his eye surgery. He stopped for a month, stopped for Toriyama. He stopped even a month before that just to like get ready for the final saga. You know, he's taking these breaks, and the breaks help him so he is energized to do more chapters, but it also takes time. Like, a month break is a literal, you know, that's 1/12 of the year that we just removed for chapters getting added. So I would be flabbergasted if it ended before 2030. I'll be honest. I'd be flabbergasted. Seaworthy said he turns 50 on New Year's. Yeah, his birthday is New Year's, which is pretty cool. Or is it New Year's, or hold on? It is a holiday. I think, well, since you said, I'm not like I'm doubting you, but yeah, it is New Year's, which is very cool. It'd be really cool if he could like finish One Piece near his birthday. That'd be cool. So yeah, if we assume Oda's going to take 1 month off a year and he's not going to shortchange the story like he did the end of Wano, and some people might not agree with that, but I feel like you'll at least know what I mean. I don't think he's going to do that to the end of One Piece. I don't think he's going to let that happen. I think if there's one ironclad rule he has, it's nailing the ending. And I feel like he set up way too much stuff to rush it now. And I think he's just going to take a month off, take it a little bit slower than he was thinking, be okay with 30 chapters a year, and just take 10 more years and just get it done. Something like that. If it took us this long to get through Egghead, imagine us finishing the story. Like, how much time it took for Egghead. Imagine mashing the rest of the story in that time. I couldn't even imagine it. St. Constantine joined the Afro Gang. Thank you very much, my friend. I'm glad that I finally messaged you back on Discord. I'm sorry it took me forever, my man. I'm so sorry. But I did. I don't think I answered your very last one, but like, I answered a handful of them, and I'm glad. I will get back to it. Anyone else I haven't answered, I am so sorry that I haven't, because there's a lot of messages, guys. There's just so many, but I'm trying. Lucky Beetle, you keep saying my comment. What was your comment? Hold on. Was there a super chat that I missed, or was there just a chat you wanted me to see? I don't see a super chat if that's what you're saying. Was it your thoughts on Big 3 Bleach? Was that the question that you wanted me to answer? Oh, Big 3 and Bleach thoughts. I've never watched Bleach, so I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it, other than it's hard to get into. All my friends have told me that you just got to get through the first like 10 episodes or something, then it's going to catch on and you'll like it, and I totally believe them. I just haven't been able to. But if you just mean in regards to, like I was saying kind of earlier, with like the economy of it all or whatever, All I really have to say about it is that I think Naruto and Boruto are a great example of Shonen Jump being a little desperate, I guess is what I would say, because of the I like Naruto a lot. Might Guy is my goat. Who was I talking to the other day? Was it Vex? I was talking to someone about Might Guy, and that's, oh my god, I love him so much. But I think Naruto and Boruto are just an example of, Shonen Jump doesn't have a lot of like new stories coming up that they can, like make money off of, or like any manga creator or like publisher. I feel like, because I know there's a few of them. There's just not it. It's just, like I said, it's just a different ball game now. Like for Naruto, the reason I bring that up is like when Naruto ended, what did they do? They made Boruto. Dragon Ball did the same thing, kind of like with Dragon Ball Z, GT, which I know nobody wants to talk about. Dragon Ball Super, right? They keep extending it and trying to find ways to make those series live longer. And yeah, part of it's just because the owners or business people behind those franchises want to make money, obviously, and fans love the series and they want to keep hearing it. Like, all that's true, but it's definitely because they don't have a lot of other stuff to show us, right? Like, I think in an ideal world, mangas they're ending the main story and then a brand new story is starting by a new author like that. I mean, not that it has to be a new author every time, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think building another example of the story we've already had is a good strategy going forward. Like, people are going to get burnt out. Like for One Piece, I do not want Two Piece. No, I won't watch it. I'll be straight up, I'm good. But I think it's just a sign of desperation a little bit, and so that's really my take on it. Even Bleach, actually, didn't they bring Bleach back for like some new arc or something, right? Or I can't remember. I might be way wrong on that. Something recently, just like a few chapters or something. I can't remember. But it feels to me like they're just desperate. It reminds me. Well, like now it's not a great example, but it reminds me of like when sports teams had a lot of success in the past and they kind of hang their hat on it, or they don't update their strategies to the new times because they're like, well, we won all these titles 20 years ago doing this. We're just, we're still drafting and building teams the same way. It's like, no, you got to adapt. And I think that's a little bit of what, Shonen Jump or manga is in the middle of right now is, once they're big three plus Bleach plus, I mean, they're not the big three, but even these other big ones like JJK and My Hero, like once this wave is done, I mean, I know like Dandadan is really big, or getting bigger, I should say, and man, I'm not the right person to ask about this, but I know there's other stories that are pretty big, and that's cool, but a lot of those are successful because I wouldn't say they're riding the coattails of, but One Piece gets to take the lead a lot of times in terms of manga interest and manga sales, especially for Shonen Jump. And it's just, are those other stories good enough to carry after One Piece is done? I had to go look at the numbers, but I would doubt it. So I just think it's an interesting time, really. Oh wow, I should have changed the chat that way. This looks so much better. Bleach is just being finished. Yeah, the 1,000-Year Blood War. That's it. Like, they're getting new stuff. Right. Bad rap sample. I get the sense Boruto's ass, but I keep hearing the opposite. So apparently the manga and the anime are way different, because I watched some of the manga, and then my friend read the, or no, I watched the anime, my friend read the manga, and then we were talking about it, and he was very confused on what I was talking about, and I was confused on what he was talking about, and so that really threw me off, because like obviously there's a little bit of a difference, but it seems like there's a lot of difference, and I don't really get that. So I don't know, but I think Boruto, at least from what I saw, into a little bit of what reaching is to the furthest depths of space, into different timelines, into different dimensions. We're reaching into every possible existing location for strong people to make these stories keep working, and it just feels weird, Lag, and we're back. Okay, well, I don't know where I lagged, but I don't think I said anything too crazy. Hopefully we're back though. Bad rap sample. You said I missed your chat. I was gonna get to it eventually, but I'm gonna go read it now that you said that. Looking at Berserk, Hajime no Ippo, Hunter x Hunter makes me side-eye Oda. Like, hurry, hurry up. MF, I don't want to get demonetized. This is serious. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's really tough because my quote always is like, I'm just gonna trust Oda. Like, this doesn't make sense. I don't like where this is going, but I'm sure Oda's thinking of something. That's what I always say, and that's what I'm gonna say here too, because I like, nothing's wrong with any of the writers for those other series. They're actually goats, a lot of them. But Oda is like, you know, like I'm not going to question the man in terms of what he's planning in the future. But I do feel like it's good to question him of what he's done in the past, or like what he's, you know, what he's doing now, I guess. And so like this chapter is a good example where whenever I see like, we don't know if it's the ending yet, so I'm going to trust that there's more to this and he has a plan. But like, if the ending of One Piece is anything like this ending of Egghead, I don't think any of us are going to like that, right? Like, or even the end of Wano. I don't think a lot of us would want One Piece to end the same way, where maybe it's rushed or confusing, or there's stuff that we don't, you know, that isn't answered. Like, you know, I'm hoping that this isn't an example of how Oda's going to end the story, and I don't think it is. But it does make me nervous when I look at how he ends things like this, or how you know, authors have ended other mangas. It does worry me because not all of them are great endings. In fact, it's probably a toss-up. Toss-up both in terms of the quality in general and how people feel about it. So, I don't know. I'm putting my stocks in Oda because I feel like I have to, but I don't know. Like, whenever I think about the ending to arcs like Skypiea, Alabasta, Dressrosa, Whole Cake, even, to be honest, Marineford, you know, there's so many amazing, perfectly wrapped up ending. Enies Lobby, so many perfectly wrapped up endings, and just, you know, like unexpected things that Oda just you know, his genius just shined. You know, I hope he can figure out the ending of the story too, because he's known it since the beginning, right? At least that's what he says. So, Dow, I saw you said Trey Lance QB1. That's hilarious. I'm praying for your fantasy team if that's your QB1. Not that I'm even in fantasy football, but I've heard enough trash talk about the guy that that I know he's not doing too hot. All right, guys. Well, I think we're pretty much at the end here. I think I've got through all the supers. Want to make sure. Okay, I think I got through all of them, so we're good. Okay, well, thank you guys as always. Seriously, it was a great stream. This was such a good chat afterward too. Like for a chapter that was so confusing and seemingly divisive, or maybe even kind of negative for people, it was an amazing discussion that we had. So a couple announcements for you guys just before I go. So I'm gonna have a Kobe video out tomorrow sometime that you guys should definitely check out. I think you guys. Oh, okay. I think we're good. I just saw earlier when Dilcor said lag fruit hitting, but that was earlier. Never mind. So Kobe video coming out tomorrow. You guys are gonna like that. Quite frankly, it's about why Kobe is going to capture Luffy at some point, which I know sounds surprising. If you were my last stream, you might know some of my reasoning, but after thinking about it, I have a lot of reasoning behind why I do think that's going to happen and where that's going to lead. And that is maybe the more exciting part of like why Luffy would want to get captured or what Kobe would be doing after that, etc. You're going to like that video. And then members, please go to the community tab, go to the members only post I posted yesterday, and please fill out the Google form. You have a chance to maybe have a say in my future videos, which maybe will appeal to you. So, but it's only for members. And then lastly, join the Discord, because that means that it's double digit, and I don't even know how high into the double digits. So you guys should definitely go check out the Discord, because we're going to be talking in there quite a bit, as always, about theories and whatnot. And honestly, I probably shouldn't say this, but if you're not a member and you still wanted to fill out the Google form, I did put the Google form in the Discord, so Discord members can also fill that out and let me know how you feel. I just want to get as many responses from, you know, people that I know watch the channel regularly, basically. So you can definitely go there and find it. It's pinned in the One Piece, I think, section. So yeah, so thank you guys as always, and you guys were so generous today. I want to say a big thank you for that. Seriously, means the world to me. and you guys had some awesome thoughts as always. And yeah, go Laboon. Better